them get through something that they never anticipated happening to them, but they're still hurt. They still need help, and they still need to get from hurt and injured to back to where they were before that accident. And we get to do that day to day. I just love helping people.
Find out more at samandash.com or call 1-800-304-2000. Sam and Ash, because you deserve what's right.
It is very important for us to always get to what the root of whatever is wrong.
You need an attorney that's focused on helping you get to the end and recovery that you deserve.
720 on the AM, 1015 FM. Yeah, now on FM. The only FM news talk station in Las Vegas. KDON. The opinions of the hosts on KDWN are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of this station, its management, or Beasley Media Group. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro. 1, 2, 3, 4.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome. It is the Vegas Take on a Monday, baby. Glad you could join us. Oh, yeah, we do have a lot to get to. A lot has transpired over the weekend, and we cover it here. Find another show that covers everything going on, pop culture, news, politics, sports. You name it, we're covering it here, man. It is the Vegas Take. Glad you could be here. And we have a big show lined up for you, a lot of great guests. So this is going to be a lot of fun. You know, as you know, unless you've been living under a rock, right, in Las Vegas, UNLV fired their football coach, Tony Sanchez, and several weeks later, we have a new head coach.
2 weeks.
Yeah, Arroyo is our new coach. Yeah. And we have... Well, obviously, he's the most famous UNLV football player of all time, but what a great career he had professionally as well. Sadly, injuries kept him back in the NFL, but unbelievable player. Randall Cunningham will be joining us, legendary, and he's going to be joining us, and he's going to be talking about what he thinks about this UNLV hire. I have a lot of questions for Randall Cunningham. He's actually never joined us on the show before.
He's never been on the show?
No, so this is going to be a lot of fun talking to Randall, who lives here in Las Vegas. He's a pastor here, and he does a lot of good things for a lot of people. And I've heard rumors, and he's alluded to the fact that he is going to be around the program a little bit more now. So that is going to be great for UNLV. He's going to be joining us in hour number 3. Also, attorney Michael Avenatti. Boy, do we have a lot to get to with him. There is a lot going on in the news. You're not going to believe, by the way, what Donald Trump said to some of the Army Navy players. I'm laughing because it's just unbelievable. You wouldn't believe what a president would say to some college football players that are serving this country. So we'll get to that. Plenty of subjects to get to with Michael Avenatti. And we do have some audio. I guess you could say our reporter, field reporter, Chris Wynn, had a chance to catch up with UNLV Athletic Director Desiree Reed-Francois. So you'll hear that audio as well as Coach Arroyo. So we'll hear all that in hour number 2 as well. And in a few minutes here, we are going to be going over what took place in the final game for the Raiders in L.A. It did not...
Oakland. It was in Oakland.
Yeah, in Oakland. I apologize. It did not end very well. Not at all. And we're also going to get a live, I guess you could say, in person, what it was like there at the end of that game. A lot of boos, a lot of people throwing stuff on the field. So one of our producers, Sean, was actually at the game yesterday, so I want to get his take on what that perspective was like. Before we get to that, a lot of stuff going on over the weekend.
I want to know what you did for this weekend.
Sure.
I want to know what you did.
Yeah, well, here's something weird. I'm 39 years old, and clearly my body is falling apart. I wake up in the morning, I get aches and pains. I get tired at around midnight now. I can't stay up till 2, 3 in the morning like I used to. I can't even sit down and play poker for more than a few hours. I lose my concentration. You know, this is part of getting old. I'm also 188 pounds. This is the fattest I've ever been in my life. I might not look too bad, but I am fat.
Well, let's start walking or something.
Yeah, well, I need to do something for exercise.
Walk around the studio in the morning twice.
I need to do. No, that's never going to happen. Never early in the morning. But anyway, my eyes started twitching on Friday. I had this weird eye spasm twitch. I'm like, am I going blind? And I learned that I don't drink enough water, that I'm dehydrated.
Oh.
So all I need to do is drink like 2 or 3 bottles of water every day, and that's going to go away. I'm certainly dehydrated. I was told that my eyes are very dry. So That's it. I'm not going blind or anything. I went to the eye doctor.
You should cry more, probably, because
Nah.
you're such. Yeah.
Well, after the Raiders game, I felt like crying because I bet on the Raiders. But so anyway, that was fine. And then on Saturday, I had a date with a nice young lady.
Okay. That's why you didn't show up, huh?
Well, let me explain. So it was a first date. You never know what's going to happen at a first date, right? A woman could look at you and say, ooh, and just walk away. Vice versa.
Right.
Although I would never do that because that's disrespectful. But you never know. You never know what's going to happen in a first date, right? So I show up. I meet this very attractive lady over at the Palms.
Okay.
We have a drink together. I feel like everything's going very well. Yeah, we're having some pretty good conversations. She's very funny. Very hot, by the way, very attractive. For somebody like me to go out with a woman like that, well, she makes me look good. I have no business being with her. So we're having a good time. And Campaign, you rented out a suite.
Well, I didn't rent out. It was the Dab Stars party. MJ BizCon was in town.
Explain to people what that is.
MJ BizCon is the marijuana business, and it was huge. There was I seen it go from one hall last year to both halls this year. Like they took and there was so
there's a
many
lot of
people
prominent
here.
people with money and a lot of marijuana.
In the marijuana
So you
industry,
got they rented out a suite at Palms Place.
Yes.
If you've seen any of the suites at Palms Place, it's unbelievable. It's
Yes.
beautiful. That's why they call it a suite. It's
and of
awesome.
course, I sent Brian because we're friends, and I sent him a invitation and JD an invitation to come to the party. And I didn't receive. They didn't show up, but the party was. They had a live band there. They had a monkey. There was a lot of cannabis infused.
Anyway,
edibles
people
and
get the
stuff.
point. So
Yes.
it was a pretty cool party.
There was a
that you
monkey
invited
there.
Yeah, a monkey.
A monkey was there.
Really?
Yes.
What was a monkey doing there?
He was chilling.
Somebody brought a monkey at the party?
Yes, there was a monkey at the party.
Well, you know that's a real party when there's a monkey at the party.
Yes.
Anyway, so so here's what transpired. Here's what transpired. Basically, you invited me there. I'm having drinks with this girl, and we're trying to find where your party is, and you're texting me, and eventually we found out it was at Palms Place. So I look at my date and I say, "You want to go over there?" And she looks at me and she goes, "Not really. I really won't know anybody there." And I'm thinking to myself, "Oh boy, she's not into
Right.
this
She's
thing,
not
right?"
feeling it?
Yeah. And then she goes, "Why don't you come back to my place?"
Ding, 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 ding,
Yeah.
ding.
And so it was a success from there. So you
Yes.
can't not listen. I wish I went to the party.
Yeah,
I wish she
you
said.
did too. But
I wish
I'm
in a
glad.
perfect scenario, I
Yes.
wish that we hung out at the party for an hour and then I went back to her place.
Right.
But in that situation, if it's a really happening party or a very attractive woman I'm with says, "Hey, let's go back to
Right,
my place,"
right.
I'm probably going to choose the latter.
Right.
So I hope you understand. I'm
No,
sorry I
hey,
couldn't attend.
if you want to exchange body fluids with somebody besides or come to a
Ooh.
party,
When
exchange body
I hear
fluids.
exchanging body
That's what
fluids,
you
I feel
did.
like I need to get an STD test. I don't want to hear that.
That's what
But
you
anyway, thank you for the invitation.
Yes.
Was not able to go to the party.
Yes.
But anyway, that was a real fun night. And then what ended up happening on Saturday was, Chris Wynn, friend of the show,
Yes.
he works at a local restaurant as well. So me and our producer, Jason Stein, we went to say hello to him, and we sit down at one of his tables, and he was angry the second we stepped in there. And the reason why he was angry is because he had a table of literally like 10-year-old girls that he had to serve. And he looked very stressed out. It was extremely funny, and I was making fun of him the whole time. And, on their table, they had all these parlay cards. These are 10-year-old girls betting on football because the father wanted them all to fill out one of these parlay cards because he's a buffoon. And so they have all these parlay cards on the table. They might as well have crayons and crap like that.
Barbies.
So I'm talking to Chris, and the whole time you could see he's just so stressed out. So I took a video. I should post it on Twitter, on our Twitter page, a video of him serving a bunch of 10-year-old girls food. And I guess he got stiffed on some tips too. But anyway, that was.
I mean, what was he expecting to get tipped? They're 10-year-olds.
I don't know. And then I went to this happening new restaurant that just opened up there, and I can't recall the name of it at the Palazzo, but it was incredible. They just opened it up over the weekend. They had
What
this.
was it called? Hit Burger?
I don't remember what it's called, but
okay.
we had this. It was this huge party. So hung out there Saturday night. So that was a lot of fun. It was like an open bar and a bunch of free food. And
So you had a successful weekend.
it was fun. I can't say I did not have a good time. Won a few bets, but I want to get to the Raiders game last night. That was not a fun bet that I made. So why don't we do this? Why don't we do this, fellas? I'm going to take a quick break. And when we come back, here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk a little bit about what was it like the last game in Oakland fans booing players as they go off the field. Rightfully so. I don't have a problem with that. But I do have a problem with fans throwing stuff on the field. Really bad. Damaging stuff in the stadium. And we have some audio to play for you as well. The Raiders are coming to Vegas. Their next home game will be in Las Vegas. But what transpired yesterday, both on the field and off the field, was nothing short of disgusting. We'll get to that coming up next. You're listening to The Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON.
There's an app to save on flights, an app to rent a bike, and an app to help you save for driving safely. The Allstate app gives you real-time driving feedback with DriveWise, giving you the power to lower your insurance cost. In fact, safe drivers can save 40% or more. Connect and save with DriveWise. You're in good hands.
Download the Allstate app today. Savings may vary by state and driving behaviors. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Use of Allstate Mobile with activation of DriveWise required. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Want to know the sneaky way to give the perfect gift this holiday season? Just tiptoe into your loved one's closets and look at their shoe sizes. Then head to Skechers and make this holiday the most comfortable ever. Because at Skechers, we have ultra comfy, ultra affordable shoes you can buy everybody you know. Let's start with the kids. We have stretch fit, shoes that light up, and many more. And how about for mom, dad, and even the grandparents? We've got boots, sneakers, slip-ons, and so much more. Find Skechers at Skechers.com, at a Skechers store near you, or wherever stylish shoes are sold.
Parents, you always say you want what's best for your children. If that's the case, then you should be bringing your kid to Infinity, the Math Institute, where every student earns an A or B in math. Our results are proven and they are amazing. The best tutoring service for the best price, whether online or in person, small group or one-on-one. You cannot get better results. Great grades will come when your child truly understands the math. From elementary math to calculus, we have the best tutors, the best materials, and the best results. Now offering free parent seminars on how to better help your child, what is Common Core, and more. Find out why parents are bragging and students are enjoying school again by calling 702-768-1777. That's 702-768-1777, or visit themathinstitute.com today. Tell them the Vegas Take sent you, because at Infinity, you don't get more math problems, you get solutions.
Amid Las Vegas's glitz and glamour lurks the tragedy of homeless veterans, our nation's heroes who return from war but continue to fight a battle for survival on our city's gritty streets. The basic human need of shelter shouldn't be a luxury to military heroes, which is why there is Veterans Village. Veterans Village is a nonprofit organization providing transitional housing, meals, and social services to homeless vets to give them a hand up. Veterans Village is a place of hope, but we can't do it without you. Be a hero to heroes and donate any amount you can afford at vvlv.org. That's vvlv.org. vvlv.org.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON.
I'm just saying.
Welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us on a Monday. And coming up here in just a few minutes, we are going to get a first-hand account of what it was like to be at Raider Stadium yesterday. The boos. Let me explain exactly what took place. So the Raiders yesterday, of course, it's their last game in Oakland, and they're playing the Jaguars. Jaguars are a really crappy team. They're just not good. The Raiders are probably a better team on paper, and considering that it is the last game in that stadium, you would have thought that the Raiders would have put forth a better effort. Well, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they were up 16-3 at one point. So you say to yourself, okay, they're going to come away with the victory. The spread was -6.5. So obviously the line said that the Raiders should win by something close to a touchdown. And I was one of those people that were suckered in by my producer who said that there's no chance the Raiders are going to lose the game. And I lost money on the game because I listened to Jason Stein, our producer. Never take picks from a guy that makes $10 parlays. Okay, that's number one. That's rule number one. Don't ever do that. So that's what I did, and I lost. I lost a money line bet. I lost an in-game bet. But here's what happened after the game. Now, I don't mind fans booing, and everybody was booing the team. And you know what? Rightfully so they should have. Because this was a game they should have won. You figured it would have been an emotional game, at least for the players. You would have thought play for the fans. It's the last game in the stadium. You lose to the Jaguars? I don't mind the fans booing, but then they were throwing stuff out on the field. They were damaging stuff in the stadium. Some of these fans are complete bozos. They're buffoons. So Derek Carr was asked after the loss, talking about the fans booing him and throwing stuff on the field. Here's his reaction.
Yeah, it hurts. I feel bad for him. I feel bad for our team that puts in all that work, spends time away from our families just trying to get a win, I feel bad for everybody. That's especially the way it happened. That kind of hurts even more.
Yeah, I don't know how much it hurts for Carr. I don't know. And I don't want to go after him as far as, his competitive nature, this and that. I've never thought he was an elite quarterback. I don't think he's the type of quarterback that can lead this team to a Super Bowl. I just simply don't think he's good enough. He does a lot of weird things out there in the field sometimes that make me believe he's not the right guy for this job. But anyway, that was his reaction there. He's taking the high road. And then he was asked, what was said when he went over to the black hole. And if you don't know what the black hole is, that's the area where he's talking to fans after the game near the end zone. Here's what he said there.
Oh, I saw a couple people, a little kid, a couple people I have seen over the years, and just said thanks. Whenever I'm done playing football, they can get mad at somebody else someday that's the quarterback. You know what I mean? Like, there's too many times, too many fun memories where I've had with, especially those certain people, where it's our last time there. It's just a cool moment, to say thank you to some of those guys. That have familiar faces. I mean, memories of, throwing a ball and, breaking Gorilla Rilla's, chain and things like that and signing it the next week. Like, it's just so many memories, with all those people. So I had told him I was going to come say hi to him after the game no matter what.
And that's cool, and that's a very classy thing to do, and he seems like a good guy. With that being said, maybe it was the wrong time to do it. I think it would have been probably better if he did stuff like that before the game or if you won the game after the game. But after a loss like that, when people are throwing things out on the field, the timing of it probably isn't exactly good. So he was asked, does he blame the fans for any of this stuff?
Oh gosh, what's new with our crowd? Yeah, whenever we don't win, that's going to happen. So trust me, it's not under my skin. It's nothing new.
Well, I'll tell you something. I was a Hartford Whalers season ticket holder, and I hate to make the analogy and compare hockey fans and Hartford Whaler fans to Raider fans. Completely different scenario. But with that being said, I was at the last Hartford Whalers game, and it was a meaningless regular season game in a sense. As far as the playoffs were concerned. Same thing with this Raiders game. It was a meaningless football game. After the Whalers game, and I was like 15, 16 years old, it was emotional. It was sad, but, there was no booing going on. Nobody were throwing things at the players. In fact, the players were throwing hockey sticks and hockey equipment to the fans. It was kind of a love fest. You want to talk about a completely different scenario at the stadium yesterday in Oakland. Completely different. I've seen videos of fans damaging the stadium, breaking seats, picking them up and taking them with them. I saw some really weird videos and strange stuff. So I wanted to get a firsthand account. What was it like in Raider Stadium yesterday with the fans and everything else? And one of our producers, part-time producers here over at KDWN, in fact, he's produced this show at times, is Sean McCullum. He joins us live on the line. He was there. He was in the stadium during this game. I believe he went with our own Ken Thompson as well. Is that true, Sean?
Yes, that is absolutely correct. And first of all, thank you so much for having me on. And we were actually sitting in the black hole towards the end. So if you're facing the black hole, they got that big black hole banner. We are to the far right of that. And actually, Ken Thompson dressing up in the Grinch costume. So we were there. We did, in fact, get a firsthand account of all of this.
All right. So let's start from the game itself. How the hell do the Raiders blow a 16-3 lead? They are outscored. They score 0 points in the second half. They are absolutely bamboozled in this game. Outscored what? Correct me if I'm wrong. Were they outscored 17-0 in the second half? I don't understand. How does that happen?
That is absolutely correct. And I can't speak for Ken Thompson, but I can certainly speak for myself. I'm still, honestly, as a fan, I grew up a diehard Raider fan. I'm a proud Las Vegas native, graduated from UNLV. My dad, my late father, was a huge Raider fan, and I just gravitated towards that. It's my favorite sport. I'm still trying to process this, Shapiro, they were outscored 17-0 in the second half. And for the first half, actually, the crowd was into it. You got that vibe that, wasn't going as dominating as they would like it to be. But, in the second half, when things started turning, you did felt you kind of feel a sense of urgency, kind of a calm, like a, slow hush. And then what made it even worse was the last drive by Jacksonville. As soon as they started getting, I'd say around the 10-yard line of the Raiders, the water bottles start flying, and all of a sudden when they score, then the madness kind of ensues.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about the madness. And listen, I'll be the first one to say the fact that the Raiders lost that football game is a joke. Not a good way to end things in Oakland. So the game ends, and I was just talking about this on the air. I'm not sure if you heard, but you've got Carr that goes to the black hole, and you got players that are saying some goodbyes to fans. During all this, all the fans, it seemed like, or most of them, are booing the players. There are things being thrown out on the field. Describe to me what you saw.
So what I saw is, and I'm absolutely surprised. So me and Ken, we actually saw our strong safety, Eric Harris, come down to the black hole. They were pretty respectful to him for the most part. I did see the water bottles start to fly. We did see Derek Carr make the black hole, and I am so surprised that after a loss like that, they decided to still come down. But what I saw is people were actually throwing a few chairs on the field from the actual stadium.
Wait, hold on a second. So you're telling me they took the chairs and ripped them off, the nails that were into the concrete. They somehow found a way to do it, and they throw them out onto the field? That's a dangerous situation.
Yes, that is absolutely correct. I saw two chairs being thrown, and the funny thing to me is the cup holders that are actually bolted into the seat backs as well at the Oakland County Coliseum, they were being flung a lot more than the chairs. But I was so surprised at how some of these fans even got the chairs out of the out of the bolted cement. So we did see two chairs being thrown, and countless, I can't tell you how many cup holders that were thrown onto the field. And thankfully, either the cup holders or any parts of the chair, no one got hit by that. There were a few camera crews, on the field that did get hit, unfortunately, with some water bottles. But, they took it in stride. I'm so glad. First of all, let me preface it by saying this. I am so glad no one was seriously hurt. I didn't see any medical personnel tend to any of the camera crew that were hit, so that is really good. But yes, I did see two chairs being thrown onto the field.
Sean, are these the type of fans that are going to be coming to Vegas for games?
You know what? No, I don't think so. Because number one, let me just say that the tickets to Vegas are going to be outrageously pricey. And I will say this, Ken Thompson, he can completely back me up on this. The gorilla is actually a personal friend of Ken Thompson. He is just the nicest guy you will ever meet, and I guarantee you he had no part of this. Any of those guys in the costumes of the black hole, they were not doing this. It was just, the belligerent, drunk fans that I guarantee I'd say, Shapiro, about 60-70% made their way down to the black hole as the game was ending.
All right. Fair enough. Look, I hope we don't get that kind of element, but that could absolutely be at any NFL football game. But
I'm sure a couple of those fans were kind of angry that they know that they can't make it to Las Vegas and they can't afford a ticket, and this is the last time they can get that cheap
angry
ticket
is okay, booing is okay.
To be on the top.
Angry is okay, booing is okay. Throwing things on the field is never acceptable. That's where what I have a problem. Let me ask you this, and I guess this would be my final question, Sean.
Sure.
Moving forward, I don't think Derek Carr is the right man for this job. I don't think he is an elite quarterback. I don't even think he's above average quarterback. You could look at the stats yesterday, and you could say he had a good game. Do you think that this is the team and obviously they're going to make some changes in the offseason. Is this the team moving forward in year one in Las Vegas that you believe could win enough games to make the playoffs?
I think so, and here's why. And JD, to answer your question, you are absolutely right. I think most of these fans are bummed. For a lack of a better word, it sucks, losing your team for not only the first time, but the second time. So as a fan myself, I absolutely feel for those people of Oakland. And then Shapiro, I think, personally for me, fan is short for a fanatic. I would give Derek Carr one more year to turn around. I don't think it's 100% his fault. He has the right line. He needs a little bit of help. He needs some receivers, but I think the decision making. But what I like to see personally, Shapiro, from Carr, is his toughness. And that's something that is absolutely teachable. So if it were up to me, I would give Derek Carr one more year in Vegas. I still think he can do it because he's shown flashes of it this year from his 2016 season when he was on the cusp of getting the MVP until, unfortunately, he broke his leg in the second to last game of the season. So moving forward, Raider fans, the passionate ones, they're going to travel. Raider Nation is huge. It's not just nationally, it's globally. They will always be there. And I feel for these fans. They're just passionate. But for the most part, Raider fans do get a bad rap. But, yeah, to answer your question, and then I won't keep it, guys. Shapiro, I will say that I give Derek Carr one more year to turn around, maybe get him some help, and we'll go for there. But
all right, fair enough.
They even surpassed, and I just want to end by saying this, they even surpassed my expectations for this year, but they're definitely on the right track. I would say yes.
Well, you know what, Sean? I hope you're right, my man. Hey, I appreciate you taking some time to join us and giving us your perspective. Glad you didn't get hurt out there, and glad you were there. That's kind of a cool experience. Sean, thanks for your time, man. Appreciate it.
Guys, thank you so much. Have a great show.
You bet.
Thanks a lot, Sean.
All right, coming up next, we are going to be joined by attorney Michael Avenatti. Going to get his perspective on anything and everything that took place in the political world, this impeachment inquiry, the articles of impeachment. Michael Avenatti coming up next. You are listening to The Vegas Take.
Snow, ice, and heavy rain in the Northeast today, says meteorologist Chad Myers.
The storm will eventually roll its way to the Northeast into New England. There will be a sleet, freezing rain mix for a while in places. Not so much New York City, you'll be 36, but certainly in Boston, especially west, Delaware Water Gap into Albany, Binghamton, that area there will pick up snow. And just to the south, from Scranton all the way over to about New City, there will be a layer of ice on the ground.
Reports today that Boeing may reduce production or even stop making its troubled 737 MAX. The Wall Street Journal says Boeing's board met yesterday and today an announcement may come after the market closes today. The FBI says 19-year-old Christopher Melder has been arrested after trace amounts of mercury spilled at 3 locations in Houston yesterday. Between 30 and 60 people were asked to take decontamination showers. Melder's been charged with burglary and unlawful disposal of hazardous material. I'm Christopher Cruz.
It's time to check the roads in the KDON Traffic Center.
This report is paid for by Doctor-Patient Unity. Slowing for the accident 215 Southern Beltway westbound at Durango at the off-ramp, still a factor. Also a crash on the 95 southbound near the Southern Beltway, vehicle off left. And an accident on the Southern Beltway westbound at the 95. On the surface streets, a hit-and-run accident investigation continues, Decatur north of Sahara. As surprise medical bills bankrupt Americans, Jackie Rosen demands insurance companies pay their fair share in opposing their rate-setting proposal to cover less of your medical care. Tell Jackie Rosen thank you and keep fighting. I'm John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
Here is some great news. If you missed the deadline to sign up for health insurance, or if you sign up for a plan that you're just not happy with, you still have a choice. It's called MediShare. It's the affordable alternative to health insurance, and it's worked beautifully for 25 years. They have more than 400,000 members now around the country. MediShare is a Christian healthcare sharing ministry, and over the years, members have shared over $3 billion of each other's medical bills, so they could help share your needs too. And best of all, you could save a lot of money with MediShare. The typical savings for a family is about $500 a month. Your savings could be more or less, but think about what you could do with that extra money every month. You're not stuck with a high-cost health plan. You can join MediShare anytime, so call them today and check it out. Here's the number to find out more, and there's no pressure. They are super easy to talk to. Call 844-91-BIBLE. That's 844-91-BIBLE. 844-91-BIBLE.
Looking for that perfect new piece of furniture for your home? A New Concept Furniture is the place to start and end your search. They'll beat any price on the internet, and they're here locally, so you can feel what you're buying first. Go to A New Concept Furniture today at 4255 South Grand Canyon to see for yourself the slick, modern, shiny store that mirrors our shiny city. A New Concept. Check out their showroom or call them at 702-570-2240. That's 702-570-2240.
SportsX Radio Nation, what's up? It's Ken Thompson, host of SportsX Radio, reminding you to catch me at my new time, 8 to 10 p.m. for all the local Vegas sports coverage, plus the national scene as well. That's SportsX Radio on the new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN.
This is Lorraine Hunt Bono, inviting you to tune in for Breaking Bread with Bono. Join my husband, Dennis Bono, as celebrities share with him their intimate and humorous stories. Saturdays, 5 to 6 p.m., right here on KDON.
Rich is just a really, really, really good guy. The term good egg isn't enough to describe him. He's also certified organic. and free range. Rich puts the cap back on everything. The toothpaste, the olive oil, the shampoo, everything. He lets his 10-year-old nephew beat him at virtual tennis, even though he can straight up slay his 10-year-old nephew in virtual tennis. When the toilet paper is running low, Rich replaces the roll on the actual holder, not just on the back of the toilet. Rich is texting and driving. Rich, no. What are you doing, Rich? I was just telling everyone how great you are. Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I'm Ben Utek. I played high school, college, and pro football, helping my team win the 2006 championship. My career ended after I suffered my 5th concussion. More than 1 million athletes suffer a concussion each year. The American Academy of Neurology recommends athletes thought to have a concussion be immediately removed from play and assessed by a healthcare professional trained in concussion. This isn't just about sports, it's about your brain. When in doubt, sit it out. Learn more at aan.com/concussion. A message from the American Academy of Neurology.
At the U.S. Department of Education's Office of Federal Student Aid, we provide more than $150 billion each year in grants, loans, and work study funds. Learn more at studentaid.gov.
Sean Hannity, weekdays noon to 3 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM. KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro, so glad you could join us. By the way, a quick reminder, we got some fun guests this week. We have Patrick Duvall. He'll be joining us.
Duvall Patrick.
Duvall Pat. Did I say Patrick Duvall again?
You did.
You know, I always say that because Robert Duvall. I'm a big fan of Robert Duvall, very famous actor.
And Adam Duvall, David Duvall.
Of course. Duvall Patrick, Democratic presidential candidate, will be joining us tomorrow. Also, we have Chris Kattan. Come on, man. Night at the Roxbury. Very, very funny guy. He'll be joining us on Wednesday. And coming up in hour number 3 today, NFL legend, UNLV legend, Randall Cunningham will be joining us in hour number 3 today. But joining us right now, we always love catching up with him on Mondays. We know he's a very busy man, but I'm sure he has a lot to say with what has transpired here over the last several days with this impeachment inquiry and much, much more. It is attorney Michael Avenatti. Michael, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Excellent. Good morning, gentlemen.
What's up, Michael?
Thanks for joining us, Michael. Okay, I want to start with this, and I think this is important because when you hear a CNN anchor who is usually not on Donald Trump's side, in regards to Jeffrey Toobin on CNN, he said that he believes that Donald Trump has won this impeachment battle. Have a listen to this, and then I want your response.
You know what struck me about this hearing was how Donald Trump, in a way, has already won. How much did we hear about Hunter Biden? Over and over again about Hunter Biden. That's what the Republicans are talking about constantly. And, you know, there are questions about Hunter Biden's behavior. And so, I mean, this incredible shift of emphasis. And, you know, it's going to be a real challenge for us as journalists to decide how much to follow along with this.
Okay, Michael, what is your response to that? Do you think Jeffrey Toobin makes a valid point there?
Well, I think he makes a valid point as it relates to public relations and messaging. There's no question about that. The point is not valid from a legal perspective. But, I think he makes the point that I've made repeatedly, which is the Republicans just generally are more organized, they're more cohesive, they're better at messaging and communicating than the Democrats. I mean, the Democrats get outplayed in this regard on a fairly consistent basis. And I think that is, what you've seen play out by the Republicans and the Trump sycophants. I mean, they've been beating on this Hunter Biden drum now for weeks, just like they were beating on Mueller for months, which had a lot of effect from a PR standpoint. And they're good at messaging. They're good at communicating. I mean, that's why one of the reasons why Donald Trump was elected in 2016. So I think he's right about that. From a legal perspective, of course he's not right. But look, the Democrats are getting ready, in my view, to make a critical mistake. And I've been fairly consistent about this over the last few weeks. And that is sending these charges to the Senate for this, ridiculous rigged trial is absurd. And frankly, it's just downright stupid.
Yeah.
The House, if they want to pass the impeachment charges, they should pass the charges and hold the charges and continue to investigate, continue to take testimony from key witnesses like Parnas and others, really press the issue in the courts, because otherwise what's going to happen is this thing's going to go to the Senate and it's going to be over. I mean, it's already over in the Senate, basically. The leadership has indicated that they're going to run basically a kangaroo trial. Everyone's already made up their mind. And this is going to be embarrassing for the Democrats.
What do you make of Mitch McConnell? I believe he was on Fox News, which is probably the only network he'll show up on, saying that he's going back and he's getting advice from the president of the United States. Is that not his job in this situation? Isn't he supposed to pretend like he's not? It's typical partisan politics. What do you make of Mitch McConnell in this situation?
I think it's outrageous. You've got basically the foreperson of a jury who has publicly announced that that individual is going to be working with the defense. I mean, if that happened in a criminal or a civil trial, it'd be outrageous. I mean, you can't conduct yourself like that. And these guys are so brazen at this point. I mean, they don't even give a shit. I mean, they're so brazen that they basically just announce they're going to do this before they do it, and they dare someone to stop them.
Talk a little bit. Let's talk about Lindsey Graham here, since we are talking about the trial. And by the way, I agree with everything you said about Mitch McConnell, the useless turtle, as I like to call him. So Lindsey Graham was on Face the Nation. He's talking about the upcoming trial in the Senate and where he stands on this thing.
I am clearly made up my mind. I'm not trying to hide the fact that I have disdain for the accusations in the process, so I don't need any witnesses. The president can make a request to call witnesses. They can make a request to call Mike Pence and Pompeo and Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. I am ready to vote on the underlying articles. I don't really need to hear a lot of witnesses.
There he is himself, the words of Lindsey Graham, a man with no backbone who will say and do anything to appease the president. What do you make of those statements?
Well, imagine if Lindsey Graham was accused of a crime, or somebody that he cared about was accused of a crime. Imagine if there were jurors on that jury, the jury that would consider the crimes against Lindsey or somebody that he cared about. And the jurors just announced, you know what, I don't need to hear any of the evidence. I've already made up my mind because I don't like Lindsey, or I don't like Lindsey's family member, so I'm just going to vote to convict. It's absurd. I mean, this entire process is being turned on its head.
It really is. You're right. So Donald Trump and many of the people on the right, the Republicans, they think they speak for all Americans, and they say Americans do not support the impeachment and removal. But yet a new Fox News poll just came out that says at least half the country support impeachment and removal. Why is it that, Republicans certainly don't want to talk about that?
Well, I mean, I think you're right that the poll obviously shows that the majority supports impeachment and removal. But I'm going to go back to what I said earlier when I talked about the Republicans and their ability to message and communicate. This 30% or 40% or 38%, somewhere in that range of Americans that strongly support Trump and really will look the other way despite anything that he does. They are much louder in many ways than the others on the other side. I mean, it's just the nature of how that group is built and the attributes of the group. But they're a very loud and vocal group. And so I think in many ways they drown out even a larger percentage sometimes.
He is attorney Michael Avenatti. This is the Vegas Take. Michael, I have to bring up Stormy Daniels at least once. Here's why. In response to comparisons to the Clinton impeachment, it was Democratic Representative Zoe Lofgren. He claimed the House should look at adult entertainer Stormy Daniels' case in the impeachment inquiry. Have a listen to this, and then we'll discuss.
I would just like to note that the argument that somehow lying about a sexual affair is an abuse of presidential power, but the misuse of presidential power to get a benefit somehow doesn't matter. If it's lying about sex, we could put Stormy Daniels' case ahead of us. We don't believe that's a high crime and misdemeanor. Yield. No, and it is not before us, and it should not be for us, because it's not an abuse of presidential power. I yield back.
All right, Michael, what's your response to that?
Well, here's what I'll say. I think the Democrats have really kind of missed out somewhat over the last, 3, 4, 6 weeks while this has been going on. I think the messaging should have been very simple. If lying about a blowjob is impeachable, then lying about what happened with Ukraine and conducting himself in the way that he has to sell out the country for his own political gain, as Trump has done, is most certainly impeachable. I mean, that's the comparison that needs to be made. The Democrats ought to be talking about how Bill Clinton was impeached because he lied about a blowjob morning, noon, and night, because that's the reality of the situation.
Well said. Michael, I look at this situation and the way that it's being handled. It almost seems like Trump's Team Trump is looking at this like they know that he's going to get impeached in the House. They're 99% sure that he's not going to get impeached by the Senate. And they're basically they're looking forward to 2020, and they're saying, well, what about Hunter Biden? What about Hunter Biden? They're taking an opportunity here to just flip the script and flip the narrative and make it all about Hunter Biden, because they know that it's going to. It looks right now like Joe Biden will be his competitor in 2020, but they're not even taking this seriously. They're taking their opportunity with this massive platform to make it all about Hunter. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. Look, I agree 100%, and I think it's another reason why the House should not move these charges out of the House over to the Senate, because as soon as the Democrats lose control of this process, I mean, this thing's going to be a bloodbath. Trump and the Republicans are going to be taking a victory lap that's going to last months on this thing. And I think it is a critical mistake. I think Schiff has made some critical mistakes, frankly, in the way, and the leadership of the Democratic Party in the House not recognizing this. And they most certainly should recognize it now, because you got Lindsey Graham, McConnell, and others just stating outright that there's not going to be a trial in the Senate, not a real trial. I mean, there may be a make-believe trial. They may go through the motions, but it's clear as day what's going to happen in the Senate. So I don't know why the House would send these charges to the Senate. I just don't.
He's Michael Avenatti. We'll be taking some phone calls next segment, 257-5396. A little bit of breaking news, Michael. Former Republican presidential candidate Carly Fiorina has just said that it is vital that Donald Trump be impeached, but yet she still says she may vote for him in 2020 anyway. And of course, if we recall, it was Donald Trump that was trashing her on her looks not that long ago. What do you make of this? I mean, I think there are many Republicans out there like Carly Fiorina, who I've never supported. I've never been a big fan of hers. She says that it's vital that Trump be impeached, but yet she still might vote for him anyway. You want to talk about no backbone. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I saw this right before I got on. I think it's ridiculous. How do you square those two views? I mean, they're impossible to square. I mean, if you think the guy needs to be impeached, must be impeached because it's vital, then how the hell can you turn around and say that you may vote for him? It's crazy.
Yeah, that's a valid question. But I think there are a lot of Republicans out there like that, right? They're so set in their beliefs. All they care about is policy. And even though they know deep down in their heart that what Donald Trump did was wrong enough possibly to be impeached like a Carly Fiorina, they would still rather vote for a man who committed impeachable offenses than vote for a Democrat. I mean, how do you reason with somebody like that?
Well, I mean, I think this goes back to what we've talked about, which is, it's become apparent now that it's party over country and its policy. Look, as long as Trump maintains his position on a handful of policies that are critical to the Republican base, as long as he maintains that he's pro-life, as long as he maintains the position that he's basically anti-immigrant, anti-immigration, as long as he maintains a position of low taxes, low tax rates, he's going to maintain that base. And the Republicans will just hold their nose and vote for him and support him.
Speaking of people that support Donald Trump, let's talk about Representative Mike Johnson from Louisiana for a second. So, Michael, as you know, Donald Trump tweeted over the weekend another classless, beneath the presidency tweet saying that Nancy Pelosi's teeth were falling out, okay? Mike Johnson, defending that tweet on CNN with Ana Cabrera, asked if he condones the president talking about women in this way. Have a listen to this cut.
The president has a very unorthodox style of messaging. It's not the way that I talk or that I would tweet. But look, the president's very frustrated about how he's been treated. He lashes out sometimes, and I think a lot of the American people understand that. It was mentioned just a moment ago in your discussion that he really hadn't gotten due process. He didn't get a fair trial in the House, and that's very bothersome to him because there's going to be an asterisk by his presidency in the history books that he was the third president to be impeached by the House, and it's really not fair the way it's been done. So he's frustrated about that.
Mike Johnson going after, saying that Donald Trump's tweet about Nancy Pelosi's teeth falling out is, quote, an unorthodox style. What do you make of that, Michael?
Well, I wonder if Mike Johnson has a mother or a wife or a daughter. He obviously does. And I wonder if he would find it acceptable if the president of the United States went after one of them the way that Trump went after Nancy Pelosi. Look, this is an example, though, of what we're going to see. We're going to see more of this as the election heats up. You're not going to see less of it. I mean, this is the way Trump communicates. And that's why, as I've said, I mean, this is going to be a very, very ugly election, incredibly ugly, probably the most divisive election and ugliest election that we've seen in our lifetime, certainly in modern times. This thing's going to be ugly.
Yeah, there's no question, and it's only going to get worse. I tend to agree with you. All right, Michael, let's talk about your favorite, your best friend. That would be Biff, also known as Donald Trump Jr. So this story came out a few days ago, Michael. I'm sure you saw it. His trip to Mongolia, and now people are saying that he illegally killed a sheep. Can you shed some light on this and your very good friend, Donald Trump Jr.?
Well, yeah, from what I understand, he went and basically killed this endangered sheep, this endangered species, and then after the fact, they sought a permit that allowed him to do it. And there's some questions as to how he got that permit, et cetera. Can you imagine, just take a moment? Let's imagine if one of the Obama children. If one of the Obama children had killed an endangered species or something in another country, and this had gone down, imagine what would happen.
Do you think he used an assault rifle?
Yeah, I'm sure. They probably released it in like a 6x9 enclosure so he could hit it.
I mean, really, does John? I had a conversation with a Republican on this show a few months ago, a prominent one. She came in studio. And she said she loved Don Jr. She loved him. She was a big fan. And I looked at her on the air, and I'm talking about Amy Tarkanian, who ran the Republican Party here in Las Vegas for a short time. And I looked at her, and
she said he was a nice guy.
Yeah, and I looked at her, and I said, can you name me one accomplishment that Don Jr. has ever made in his life? Maybe he's done a few charity contributions and that sort of stuff. Can you name me one huge accomplishment? She looked at me with this face, and she couldn't name one, Michael.
Apparently he contributes to taxidermy.
Yeah, apparently he does do that. I mean, Michael, what has this guy done in his life, Don Jr.?
No,
nothing.
I mean, look, I've made this point repeatedly. This guy has accomplished nothing in his life other than being part of the Lucky Sperm Club. I mean, that's about it. Or Unlucky Sperm Club, depending on your perspective. I mean, the guy has accomplished nothing. But look, here is what I will say. This is one of the rare occasions where I will agree with his father when Don Jr. was born. His father's wife at the time said, well, why don't we call him Don Jr.? And his father said, well, I can't do that because what if he turned out to be a loser? I mean, and people say Trump doesn't have great vision.
That's true. That's a good point. What do you make?
Let's just hope he doesn't kill a koala bear.
Yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see what happens there.
Biff the poacher.
Yeah, seriously. Michael, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about Rudy Giuliani because now, as you know, he's made his own Ukraine documentary that apparently shows that Donald Trump is innocent. First of all, with all this crap going on in revolving the Ukrainians and Donald Trump, Rudy Giuliani happens to be over there making this documentary. I don't think you could ask a worse time for your personal attorney to be over there in the first place. But what do you make of this and him? Why would he do this? Why would Rudy Giuliani, as he lost his marbles, be in the Ukraine at this time making this documentary?
Yeah, that'd be like me traveling to Oregon and shooting a documentary on Nike. I mean, that's not it's not very bright, frankly. No. So I don't know what this guy is thinking. I don't think he is thinking.
Uh-oh, did we lose you? I think your phone cut out there, Michael. I think we missed a little bit of.
Sorry.
That's all right. Go ahead.
You guys got me?
Yeah, you're good.
Go ahead. All right, we got to get Michael a better phone line. We lost him a little bit there. He is Michael Avenatti. He is joining us on the Vegas Take. We'll get another phone line. And that was actually a pretty funny comment, what he just made. He is actually making the comparison to Rudy Giuliani making his own Ukrainian documentary right now to if Michael Avenatti went to Oregon and did a documentary on Nike. That's if you missed that, that's actually
with a couple of athletes that Nike paid.
It's actually quite
You know,
funny.
I think it's indicative of how invincible Rudy Giuliani believes he is in this situation, and how little. I don't think that the Republicans, Donald Trump and Giuliani, are even scared at all about what's going on right now in the Ukraine, and the fact that they're doing this is kind of saying, "Hey, you can't touch us. We are untouchable." That's my take on it.
It is amazing to me, going back to Carly Fiorina. There are many Republicans out there that are the same as others that would say, well, you know what Trump did was wrong. It's an impeachable offense. But yet, I'm going to still vote for Donald. That's the thing that amazes me. I believe we have Michael back on the line. Michael, I think we missed what you just said there. Go ahead.
Yeah, we were talking about Rudy Giuliani, and I mean, I think that it really reflects this documentary that he's done. I think it reflects two things: one, his error in going to do this, and two, his belief that he's really not going to be charged.
Exactly.
And this alleged investigation as being no investigation at all. I don't think he's going to be charged for all the reasons I previously stated.
I tend to agree with you on that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that he's worried at all, and this is very indicative of that.
Michael, I don't know if you've ever met this Democrat, Jeff Vandrew of New Jersey, but he made the announcement that he's going to be switching to the GOP. Have you ever met this guy before? What do you make of this story?
You know, I have not met him, but I'm not happy at all about this. Not necessarily he's switching parties. I mean, if that's what he wants to do, that's fine. But, you know, the timing of doing this and allowing Trump to use this, politically, which is what Trump is doing. I mean, I think he met with the president over the weekend, and now Trump's going to use this as some dog and pony show, or as part of a dog and pony show relating to impeachment. You know, I think it's despicable. It's disgusting. And, you know, I hope the door should basically hit him in the ass on the way out, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Did this happen at all when Clinton was impeached, or anything along the lines like that? Have you heard of this happening before, Michael, under any circumstances?
Well, I mean, there are circumstances where representatives and senators switch parties. It's pretty rare. I don't recall this happening in connection with the Clinton impeachment. It may have, but I don't recall it. But, you know, giving Trump and his communications team this opportunity, again, I think it's just despicable. It's disgusting. If he wants to switch parties, there's no problem in doing that. But there's no reason why he can't wait a couple months before he does it.
Do you think that another Democrat will follow suit with this, or will be an isolated incident?
No, I think this is going to be an isolated incident. I'd be surprised if there was another. It's certainly not going to be a mass exodus by any stretch. He was facing problems in his district because I think he was polling only at about 28% among Democrats because he refuses to vote for impeachment.
All right, Michael, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll open up the phone lines. He is Michael Avenatti, attorney Michael Avenatti. He's joining us on the line. Question or comment about any of the subjects that we discussed. We could talk about the impeachment inquiry, of course. A lot of things going on in the world of politics right now, and attorney Michael Avenatti is joining us to talk about that. The number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation is 702-257-5396. Again, if you have a question or comment for attorney Michael Avenatti, now is the time to call. It is 257-5396. Yeah,
and hopefully Biff doesn't skin any live giraffes while we're gone.
Yeah, hopefully not. We'll have to see what's going on with that one. But again, attorney Michael Avenatti joining us on the line. 257-5396 is the number to call. And when we come back, I'm going to ask Michael, what are the differences between this Clinton impeachment and the Trump impeachment? Also, Joe Biden leading in the polls. We will ask him about that and much, much more. And as I said, take your calls at 257-5396. Take a quick break. Be back right after this.
Would you get on an airplane if you knew it had a 50% chance of crashing? You may be riding that plane right now. If you have your money in a 401k or IRA and you plan to take out the recommended percentage each year when you retire, your chance of running out of money is 50%. 50%. But there's a better and safer way to secure your income in retirement. Discover how in a free book called Rescue Your Retirement. This wealth building strategy has never had a losing year in more than a century. In fact, even the man who invented the 401k now prefers this method instead. Get Rescue Your Retirement free for just a small shipping charge and enjoy a safe landing and a comfortable retirement. Get this free book and make sure you don't run out of money. Hurry, this offer is extremely limited. To get your free copy, just go to growwealthsafely.com. That's growwealthsafely.com to discover how to rescue your retirement. growwealthsafely.com.
Hey, it's Lee Goldberg of the GCI guys at Realty One Group. Do you know anyone that's looking to buy a home, sell a home, rent, move from California? If so, give them my number, 702-902-3029. All listeners of the Vegas Take get $1,000 in your hand back at closing. Hometown heroes, veteran, military, police, teacher, nurse, I'm giving you $2,000 back. That also goes for hospitality and casino employees. Free use of a moving truck for a day, 6 free months of home security. Call me, 702-902-3029, the GCI guys.
Hi, we're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking reality that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and provides it to families and children in need.
You can help kids in need in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Your home for Sean Hannity. KDWN Las Vegas, KKLZ HD2 Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
Severe storms, severe squabbling. I'm Christopher Cruz. Snow, ice, and heavy rain making a mess in the Northeast today, says meteorologist Chad Myers.
The storm will eventually roll its way to the Northeast into New England. There will be a sleet, freezing rain mix for a while in places. Not so much New York City, you'll be 36, but certainly in Boston, especially west, Delaware Water Gap into Albany, Binghamton, that area there will pick up snow. And just to the south, from Scranton all the way over to about New City, there will be a layer of ice on the ground.
The National Weather Service says chances have increased for severe storms to hit across the deep south today. A tornado watch has been issued from East Texas through Louisiana into central Mississippi and southern Arkansas. Republican and Democratic leaders in the Senate are at odds about how long a possible impeachment trial will last and whether administration witnesses will be called. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer this morning.
So we should have all the facts come out. It shouldn't be rushed and sort of truncated to avoid facts from coming out. But it shouldn't be prolonged any longer than it has to be.
Agreement reached today between the United States and China on phase 1 of a trade deal. Director of the National Economic Council, Larry Kudlow.
One of the things it covers, not just agriculture, but the deal includes a Chinese purchase of American goods and services across the board. That includes ag, it includes energy, it will include a number of industrial areas as well.
U.S. exports to China would double under the deal. Reports today that Boeing may reduce production or even stop making its troubled 737 MAX. The Wall Street Journal says Boeing's board met yesterday and today an announcement may come after the market closes today. A tweet this morning from President Trump, new stock market high. I will never get bored of telling you that, and we will never get tired of winning. The Dow, S&P 500, and NASDAQ all up about 1% at this hour. I'm Christopher Cruz.
It's time to check the roads in the KDON Traffic Center.
This report paid for by Doctor-Patient Unity. A hit-and-run accident investigation continues on Decatur north of Sahara. Injury wreck reported eastern at Bonanza. Also police and fire with another injury crash, Boulder Highway northbound at the 95. And one more, it's an accident at Washington at Eastern Avenue. As surprise medical bills bankrupt Americans, Stephen Horsford demands insurance companies pay their fair share and opposing their rate-setting proposal to cover less of your medical care. Tell Stephen Horsford thank you and keep fighting. I'm John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
It's open enrollment season, and Medishare is the Christian healthcare sharing ministry that saves most families about $500 a month. Google Medishare and see if it's a fit for you. Medishare, healthcare you can believe in.
Psst, Bob, quick, the neighbors. There they go again. Jeez, it's like clockwork. Every weekend, he grabs his clubs, she grabs a duffel, and they're gone for the night. And when they come back, they look so relaxed and happy. Where do you think they go?
Well, they're not rich, so it must be affordable. Maybe some kind of marriage retreat?
Oh, right, with golf clubs. And she looks so refreshed.
We could use some of whatever it is. Go ask them when they get back.
Well, they're back, and you won't believe it.
Surprise me.
They've been going to Casablanca Resort in Mesquite on that $99 room and golf getaway. Sometimes they go for the $99 room and spa getaway. They love it.
Hey, we could afford $99, and it's only a little more than an hour's drive. Let's treat ourselves.
Book your $99 room and golf or spa getaway today at mesquitegaming.com or call 877-GETAWAY. Casablanca Resort in Mesquite, just like Vegas used to be. Must be 21 years or older.
Las Vegas's only FM news talk station is right here. The new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, welcome back. Hour number 2. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us. And we are joined by our special guest and friend of the show, attorney Michael Avenatti, and we are now taking your phone calls. That number, we have a few phone lines open. It is 702-257-5396. Again, that number, 257-5396. If you want to be a part of the program, and I promised we would get right to the phone calls. We've had some people very patiently waiting. Why don't we start off with Todd? Todd, you're first up on the Vegas Take. What's up?
Good morning. I just, I hope you don't hang up on me, but I just find it a little offensive, the bashing of Donald Trump Jr.,
Okay.
Especially from Michael Avenatti. I know Donald Trump Jr. didn't steal money from any handicapped people.
All right, Todd, let me interrupt you real quickly and ask you a question. Do you have a problem with people like Rush Limbaugh attacking the left on a daily basis? Do you have a problem with Tucker Carlson?
That's not what I'm
Hold on,
calling
Todd.
about.
Todd, if you
Because
want,
you're
Todd,
in worship of
Todd,
this guy
Todd,
every
Todd,
week.
Todd, Todd, if you want to
It's
stay on the line,
revolting.
Todd, if you want to stay,
You're in worship
Todd,
of this guy.
Todd,
It's
Todd,
revolting
if you
every
want, I'm
week.
going to pod you down unless you be quiet. You're not going to interrupt me. If you want to stay on the line, you're going to wait. Okay? The man that is on with us on the line right now, you might not like him because of his political beliefs. He's never been convicted of a crime before. So that conversation, that part of the conversation is going to end right now. He could defend himself. So I want you to answer this question for me. Okay? Do you have a problem before you rudely interrupted me, Todd? And you're not going to do that again, and we're going to hang up on you. Rush Limbaugh. Okay, hang up on him. This guy's a complete idiot. The question I was going to ask him was, if you have a problem with Michael Avenatti attacking the left, what about Rush Limbaugh, Tucker Carlson, Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity, Mark Levin attacking the left on a regular basis? I was going to ask him that question, but he was too ignorant.
And Don Lemon and Chris Cuomo
Yeah.
attacking the right. I mean, that's the nature of the beast. And in this show, we give our guests the opportunity to talk about whatever they want to talk about, and
But that guy-
in an unbiased platform, and that's what our show is.
But that guy was too ignorant to have any type of conversation or pullback because he's an absolute troll.
He just can't handle what Michael and what we are saying.
Of course not.
And I'm a Republican, but if Donald Trump Jr. is shooting dodo birds, I have an issue with it.
All right, Michael, we'll try to take a better phone call than that one. 256.
Let me
Go ahead.
chime in.
Yeah, go ahead, Michael.
My professional and personal life from the moment that I was born up against Don Jr. any damn day of the week, anywhere, at any time. I'd be happy to what I've accomplished, what I've done with that guy's. Period.
No, I hear you 100%. 257-5396. And there's nothing more, make no mistake about it, nothing more I'd love to hear than Michael Avenatti going up against Donald Trump Jr. in a debate. Let's go to John. John, you're next on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
What's up, John?
Yes. Good morning, and excuse me. Yes, to add to that, what we would all give for Michael Avenatti to be on stage in the debate, if that all worked out, beware Trump. But anyway, my comment is, and I'm a big fan, Mike. I don't agree with everything you say, but every time you are on, I'm dead, such as these 3 and 4 people. And then you've got Comey. Oh, my God.
All right.
Now,
Well, John,
he finally admits to something.
All right.
He could have helped out months ago, but
John, I hear what you're saying. Hang on the line, John,
Yeah.
for a second. Let's let Michael respond to that. Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, I mean, here's what I'll say. I do think that the leadership of the Democratic Party needs to be turned upside down, and I think it's a problem. And I think it's one of the reasons why people like John, vote Republican. And the fact of the matter is that the Democratic Party doesn't have a lot of fighters. They don't have a lot of folks that are really good at communicating and messaging. And that's a huge problem because frankly, I think that they're right on more issues than the Republicans are.
Yeah.
I think they're right more than the Republicans are, but it's not necessarily whether you're right on an issue or not. It is in the messaging and who the messenger is. And that's a big problem for the party. I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree, John, and we appreciate the phone call. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
we
good
don't
call,
always
John.
we don't always have to agree with everybody to respect one another.
That's an interesting perspective. The fact that he does agree with Michael Avenatti. He's a big fan of Michael Avenatti, but he's still going to vote for Donald Trump because of how terrible the leadership is on the Democratic side of things.
Yeah.
We've never had a call like that before.
That's a logical
that's our first one.
approach, and that's a reasonable approach. 257-5396. Our guest is Michael Avenatti. Question or comments, give us a call. Let's go to Steve. Steve, you're next on the Vegas Take. You're on with Michael. What's up?
What's up, Steve?
Okay, you got me on the phone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. As far as I'm concerned, right, the president talks out there to the open public for the average working man that works with his hands, okay, that actually works for a living. Now, this is what he gets across. I'm voting for him. A lot of people are going to vote for him for this reason, where he's acting not like a politician. A politician I wouldn't trust from here to eternity. Okay, that's all I got to say.
All right. Well, wow, that was a wonderful point, Steve. I'm not sure what the point was, but Michael, we'll let you respond to that. Go ahead.
Very cogent.
No, I actually, I listened to what Steve said, and I get it, because what Steve just said is what you hear a lot when you go to these swing states that I have been talking about for months on end. You know, when you go to Ohio and Wisconsin and Western Pennsylvania and elsewhere, there's a lot of people that feel exactly the way he feels. Now, I think that this whole thing is bogus relating to Trump speaking for the working men and women of this country. In fact, not only do I think it, I know it, because it's a bunch of nonsense. I mean, this guy is the biggest elitist out there. He's the biggest swamp creature out there. However, he has convinced people like Steve that he's one of them. He has convinced people like Steve that he's changing the system, that he's going to make it, he's going to right the wrongs of the last 30 or 40 or 50 years. And he's going to fight the elitists. He's convinced people of this.
And I think he's done that with his vernacular and just with the way that he communicates, and not being formal.
Well, I certainly
100%. Look,
I certainly
he doesn't talk. Go ahead.
I was just going to say I certainly don't disagree with what you're saying, Michael. But here, the fact that Donald Trump cares about Middle America, and as Steve said, people who work with their hands, to me is ridiculous. I think Donald Trump is a phony. I think I think you would agree with this. He's out for himself and his family. I truly do not believe he speaks for middle class America. And quite frankly, I don't think many Republicans speak for middle class America either. That's just my personal opinion, Michael.
Well, no, look, I agree 100% with what you just said, right? But my point and my focus is a little different, right? I think that we need to spend more time, and the Democrats need to spend more time figuring out how it is that Trump has managed to pull this off, right? I mean, he is the most elitist, and yet he has convinced a lot of people like Steve that he's the least elitist.
Right.
And a lot of it has to do with the vernacular, I agree, and the way that he speaks and the way that he communicates. I think part of the problem is you've got too many Democrats out there who are speaking at a level that just doesn't make sense to the average person. They don't use words that the average person uses. They don't use concepts that the average person can understand. They're really speaking at a too high a level. A lot of this communication needs to be at a very base level. And Trump is very talented in messaging and branding. The guy's
you're right.
brilliant when it comes
Listen, I will give him all the credit in the world for that. He uses the media to his advantage more than anyone else I've ever. He's like the Floyd Mayweather of politics. I mean, there's no question. I won't deny that. He is attorney Michael Avenatti. If you have a question or comment, give us a call. That number again, 702-257.
That was a very good comparison, Brian.
That number again, 702-257-5396. I think it is a good comparison.
It was.
Let's go to Paul. Paul, you're next on the Vegas Take. You're on with Michael. What's up?
Hey, what's up, Paul?
Paul, did we lose you?
Hello, Paul.
I think we lost Paul. 257-5396. Let's go to Marge. Marge, you are next on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, Marge.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
I have a two-part question. One is, it's been said that if with this going forward, that in the future, other presidents are going to be a little bit more vulnerable to impeachment. So I'd like Michael's thoughts on that. And the second is, we're very much involved with these trade deals, both with our neighbors in Canada and Mexico now, and with something going on with China. It looks like there might be some positive things going on there. And with this impeachment issue, do we see this as a damper? Do we see any probability of it maybe not going through? I know Nancy was holding up the trade deal with both Canada and Mexico because of the impeachment. So, again, I'd like to have Michael's thoughts on that as well.
All right. Thanks for that question, Marge. I appreciate it. Michael, what do you say to that?
Well, in reverse order, I don't think that potential trade deals will be impacted by the impeachment. I don't think the Democrats will hold those deals hostage in light of the impeachment. In fact, I was rather surprised that on the same day that the House announced charges, I think it was last Wednesday, they also gave the president a win, quote unquote, relating to the one trade deal with Canada. So, I was surprised at the timing associated with that, but I take that as an indication they're not going to hold those trade deals hostage. On the second issue relating to whether this is going to make future presidents more vulnerable for impeachment, I just don't believe that because, at least to the best of my knowledge, the best of our knowledge, we haven't had a president in the past who has sought to basically withhold aid to a foreign country unless they assisted him in his political efforts, in his political campaign.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to think that we're going to get back to normal at some point relating to the level of corruption expected of the presidency, which is zero. And yet you compare what's happened during this presidency, it's off the charts. I mean, look, I hope that Trump's conduct does not become the new normal, because if so,
That's
we got
scary.
a serious problem.
Yeah, that's scary. I really hope that doesn't happen either.
Based on how Nancy Pelosi said, you don't want to mess with me, and then Joe Biden kind of getting aggressive with that person in Iowa, I think that his conduct has kind of trickled over into the other party.
Yeah, but I think those are JD. I'm going to pull back a little bit on what you said, and I didn't agree with the way Biden and Pelosi handled that, and Michael didn't see anything wrong with it, and that's fine. I understand that. We cannot compare the two here. Make no mistake about it. Donald Trump goes after women's looks. He's gone after John McCain being a POW. The way Donald Trump goes after people. In fact, Michael, did you see this story? The Army-Navy football game over the weekend, and Donald Trump is speaking to the players before the game, and he's talking about how they can be professional football players and they can serve later in life. What president in the history of this country would ever talk to those brave men and women like that, and particularly in this situation, football players at an Army-Navy game where maybe less than 1% of them will be playing professional football? What did you make of those comments?
I didn't have a problem with those comments because a modification of that policy had been previously made. I think it was during the Obama administration that allowed more players to play professionally and then come back for their service requirements. The problem has been many of these military servicemen and women, Naval Academy and elsewhere, Air Force Academy, they come out of college or they come out of the academies and they're in top flight shape and they're ready to have a professional sports career, but they have to go serve their time in the military.
Exactly.
And by the time they get done, it's taken some of their best years from them. So the idea of the policy is that we're going to push pause on their requirement of military service, allow them to go play professional sports, and then come back to the branches of the military for their service. I don't have a problem with that because you're not talking about that huge. You're not talking about a huge number of players, to your point,
right,
that would qualify. So I don't really have a problem with the modification of the policy.
Fair enough. You're probably looking at maybe 5 or 6 players every couple of years, and I would actually like to see a strong Army, a strong Navy, a strong Air Force. And if you're a top recruit right now, why would you possibly go to those schools if especially if you come from a family that doesn't have a lot of money?
That's fair,
and they're relying on your athletic career. But if you know that you can't go pro until 6 years after you graduate, I mean, I thought it was a great move by Donald Trump, and he was cheered on by 70,000 at that game, Brian.
Yeah, well, that I'm not going to comment on the cheering because I didn't even see what was going on there. But what I will say is that I think there are other things that he could have talked about other than that. That's all I'm going to say. He is attorney Michael Avenatti. Question or comment, give us a call, 257-5396. So, Michael, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about former FBI Director James Comey. He made an appearance on Fox News Sunday, and he's talking about this IG report. Now, Wallace, who I do have a lot of respect for, I think he does a good job on Fox News, he asked what Carter Page can do to regain his reputation. Here it is.
Carter Page was treated unfairly, most significantly by his name being made public. He's a United States citizen, and it never should have been made public, and that's an outrage. But that statement is just a continuation of the lies about the FBI. The FBI is an honest, apolitical organization. Remember the treason, remember the spying, remember all of us going to jail. That was false information that your viewers and millions of others were given. My own mother-in-law was worried I was going to jail. I kept telling her, look, it's all made up. It's all made up. Don't worry about it. But I couldn't say that publicly for 2 years. Well, now I'm saying it on behalf of the FBI. It was all made up. And I hope people will stare at that and learn about what the FBI is like. Human and flawed, but deeply committed to trying to do the right thing.
Michael, your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I think that was a pretty articulate statement by Comey. I don't agree with everything he's done over the years. I have a problem with a number of things that he's done. But I think he was pretty articulate. I agree with it.
Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of a fan of Pete Buttigieg, Michael. You know that, and I know you respect him a great deal, and you've met him on occasions, and he's a smart guy. We both can agree on that. What do you make of the online left putting on all this hate on Pete Buttigieg? Because I think it is completely unfair.
Yeah, I think it's unfair too. And I saw the CNN piece that came out earlier today about it, and frankly, I thought the CNN piece was a little unfair as well, highlighting, comments from various people on Twitter, some of whom don't have a lot of prominence. I mean, God forbid we're going to start having news organizations like CNN or Fox or others that are going to make it a point to report on comments that people on Twitter make, right? I mean, that's probably not a great, it's probably not a great idea to have them just regurgitate some of these attacks, whether it be on Pete or others.
Yeah.
But, I think a lot of this comes down to there are people on the left that support Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders and others, and they see Pete as a threat. And so their response is going to be to go after him.
Yeah.
And I think he's bearing the brunt. He's had an incredible rise in the polls and has gained a lot of momentum. I don't think ultimately he's going to get there. I think he may, in fact, be president someday. I don't believe it's going to be in 2020 or maybe even not 2024, 2028. But I think he's going to have a long career in politics, and I think someday he may make a great president. I don't think it's going to be this time around.
Yeah, I agree with
you.
you.
Anytime you rise that quickly,
Mm-hmm.
You put a target on your back.
I agree, and he could be picked as a vice presidential candidate. I think we all could agree that could happen as well. You never know. He is Michael Avenatti. Again, that number to call, 257-5396. Let's go to Cleopatra. You are next on the Vegas Take. You're on with Michael. How are you?
Hi, guys. How are you?
Good.
Doing well.
Very good. I wanted to ask about the possibility of Trump resigning. Bear with me. So me and many others are super scared about the aftermath of the 2020 election. Even if Trump loses, we think that there could be violence and he could say it's rigged, etc. So right now, Michael Cohen is in prison thanks to, in big part, Michael Avenatti and all his good work. And we know that he's implicated Trump in crimes. So there's a possibility that after he leaves office, he could be indicted. So what does Mr. Avenatti think, if it's possible, that the Democrats and Nancy Pelosi could kind of cut a deal for Trump, that they would pardon him in a way or exonerate him or give him immunity in exchange of him resigning in shame and admitting to his crimes?
All right, Cleopatra.
Because that would lead to a more peaceful transition after. Is that possible? Or
Okay,
am I
Cleopatra.
dreaming in pain?
I will let Michael respond to that, but first of all, let me say it's hard to pardon somebody if they haven't been convicted of a crime, number one. And number two, me personally, I don't think there's any chance that Donald Trump resigns under any circumstance for one reason and one reason only: ego. Michael, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree 100% with that. And, we'll start with the basic premise that in order to cut a deal with Donald Trump, he's got to want a deal. And in order for him to want a deal, he's got to recognize that he has real exposure, and there's a potential of him being removed from office. And there's no indication right now that he believes there's any risk of that. And I think he's probably right at this point in light of what we've seen by various U.S. senators. So, I don't even think that's going to be on the table. Now, if the impeachment inquiry gained momentum and it appeared that he was going to be impeached, convicted of the charges in the U.S. Senate,
that's different.
Well, then that is made or cut. But
Right.
we're long from there.
That's a completely different ball game, no question about it. All right, let's take some more phone calls at 257-5396, joined by Michael Avenatti. Let's go to Anthony. Anthony, you're next on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
What's up, Anthony?
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Doing great.
Hey, great. I wanted to know if Michael thinks that one problem that we're seeing is that Democrats are not noting in their comments that it's because of Republican voters who care about this country and wanted this president to have some type of accountability held to him, but they voted to put 39 Democrats in office, right, in Republican districts, saying we need to have this man held accountable because he was committing way too many crimes. It's obvious with checks that he wrote, signed by him as president, to campaign finance reform and all those things that he broke laws. So he's broken laws. So I wonder, does Michael think that we're not, noting that it's Republican voters who cared about this country enough to put Democrats in power in the House?
All right.
Is the reason why we have this thing going on now.
Good question, Anthony, and we appreciate the phone call. Michael, your response to that?
Well, I think the midterm elections reflected a lot of frustration by a lot of Americans, some on the right and some on the left, that Trump was not being held accountable, and they wanted him held accountable. I think the House has certainly taken a lot of steps to do that. I mean, imagine if this was a Republican-controlled House, we wouldn't be anywhere close to these impeachment charges right now. American people would perhaps have never known about the Ukrainian scandal and the whistleblower. So I think it's been positive in that regard, but it's all about results, right? And so I think you could have a situation if Trump is reelected in 2020. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to be beyond frustrated and upset, and they're going to feel. And what I'm hearing from a lot of voters is, a lot of people say, "I just can't believe that he's getting away with it. He's getting away with it. He always gets away with it." And I think it's very dangerous as it relates to our institutions of government and our democracy if people start believing that they're powerless and no matter what they do, elected leaders are going to, quote, get away with it. I think that's a dangerous thing.
I agree. And I think we're in some very dangerous times right now. Michael, I always appreciate it when you take the time to join us. We know you're a pretty busy guy these days, and also look forward to you coming on and joining us. When are you going to be back in studio, my man?
Well, I'm gonna try to make that happen in the next couple of weeks. I saw that earlier today, by the way, in closing, that evidently Whoopi Goldberg got into it with McCain on The View, and I just have to tell you, were McCain to resign or be fired from that show, that's like top 5 greatest Christmas gifts for me.
My daddy. I'm sorry, that's my impersonation of McCain on The View.
That was really good, Brian.
Michael, thanks. I agree, by the way. That would be a great day for America. Michael, thank you so much for joining us.
What would be great is if her and Don Jr. teamed up, they could have a show called Our Daddy.
I would actually listen to that. I would actually listen to that show.
The podcast?
Yeah.
That would actually do really well.
Maybe they could go out and they can kill exotic sheep together. That would be, they can go on a trip together. Michael, thanks for your time, my man. Always appreciate it. Thanks. Have a great week. All right.
Thanks a lot, Mike.
He is attorney Michael Avenatti. I would actually watch that and listen to that show. That'd be great. All right. So when we come back, I'm going to talk about what is a reasonable Republican and what is an unreasonable Republican.
And breaking news, Donald Trump Jr. just blew up an elephant's leg with an IUD.
No, really? We'll have to talk about that coming up. We'll take a quick break. Be back right after this. You are listening to The Vegas Take.
If you're one of the millions of Americans who owes back taxes, if you get nervous when the mail comes because you might get a letter from the IRS, then you've heard. Their enforcement agents are cracking down this year and can garnish your paycheck, levy your bank accounts. Even your home or business could be at risk over unpaid taxes. It's all true, but it's also true there's a way out. It's called the Fresh Start Initiative, an important government program for tax debt assistance. The award-winning experts at Optima Tax Relief will fight to get you the best deal possible, protecting your paycheck and your assets from IRS collections. But don't delay, because the IRS is tacking on interest and hefty penalties every single day. So don't wait until it's too late. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-375-2922. 800-375-2922. 800-375-2922.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
From office parties to family get-togethers, if you tend to overdrink, the holidays aren't always the most wonderful time of the year. But quitting completely? Well, that's just not realistic. Sound familiar? Meet LifeBack, a modern science-based approach that allows you to effectively cut back on your alcohol consumption. LifeBack makes drinking a choice rather than a need. LifeBack is completely private, with online doctor consults, medication delivered discreetly to your doorstep, coaching and support tools through the app. LifeBack has a free online doctor consultation, 30-day money-back guarantee, and costs less than 1 drink per day. Don't wait for end-of-the-year regrets. Starting the physician-approved LifeBack program now will allow you to drink normally during the holiday season and go into the new year healthier and happier. Visit lifebac.com or call 888-959-8858 today to learn more. That's lifebac.com or call 888-959-8858 today.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Morse, the Executive Director of the Josh Stevens Foundation, born out of the heart of a young boy, Josh Stevens, who passed away in a tragic accident a month before his 13th birthday. The Josh Stevens Foundation is now spreading kindness on school campuses in more than 12 states and 350 schools. Help us to spread kindness with the Josh Stevens Foundation. You can do this by signing up to volunteer through our website, purchasing one of our Be Kind shirts through our online store, or encourage your school to join our Be Kind program and become a Be Kind school at joshstevensfoundation.org. We'd love to hear from you and appreciate all of you continuing to spread kindness throughout our community.
I'm Tony Elliott with the Nevada Department of Transportation. If you're looking for up-to-date road and construction information, be sure to visit our website, nevadadot.com.
101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON, the talk of Las Vegas.
At least 8 people have died in weather-related crashes in Missouri, Kansas, and Nebraska during a storm that's dumped nearly a foot of snow in places so far. Strong storms now moving throughout the south, and it's a cold and stormy day in the northeast. The U.S. and China today agreed on phase 1 of a trade deal. White House economic advisor Larry Kudlow.
They do remove some uncertainty, and they also increase incentives to invest, and they're also going to double our exports to China, just to name a few things.
Police in London are investigating the theft of about $66 million in jewelry from the home of the daughter of a car racing company. And Boeing is reportedly considering ending production of its troubled 737 MAX airplane. The Wall Street Journal reports the company's board met yesterday and today to decide what to do next. Boeing stock is down 10% over the past 3 months. I'm Christopher Cruz.
It's time to check the roads in the KDON Traffic Center.
This report paid for by Doctor-Patient Unity. A hit-and-run accident investigation continues on Decatur north of Sahara. Injury wreck reported eastern at Bonanza. Also police and fire with another injury crash, Boulder Highway northbound at the 95. And one more, it's an accident at Washington at Eastern Avenue. As surprise medical bills bankrupt Americans, Stephen Horsford demands insurance companies pay their fair share and opposing their rate-setting proposal to cover less of your medical care. Tell Stephen Horsford thank you and keep fighting. I'm John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. The world is changing. Isn't it time smoking changed too? Vuse Alto is a vapor product offering you a satisfying alternative to cigarettes. Simple to use, surprisingly quiet, and impressively powerful. Our best vapor yet at our best price ever. 99 cents plus tax at participating retailers. 99-cent offer applies to Alto device. Pod sold separately. Underage sale prohibited.
Hi, Doug Basham here. Join me Saturday afternoons from 2 to 4, and I'll tell you what your conservative, corporate-controlled, right-wing propaganda hate media isn't. You're welcome. That's Saturday afternoons, 2 to 4. Be there.
V is for victory, except on Saturdays when V is for veterans. That's Veterans Talk, The Forgotten Promise. Join us every Saturday from noon to 1.
Veterans Talk every Saturday at noon on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN.
You're in charge of hiring, and Indeed has solutions, like online skills tests, which let a candidate show that they're the right hire. And we give you this magic music, which will inspire the perfect hire to begin clog dancing. Okay, there's no magic music, but skills tests, that's a for sure.
See why independent research by Silk Road shows Indeed delivers 3 times more hires than any other job site. Post your next job at Indeed.com/hire and try skills tests for free. Terms and conditions apply.
Does your child love math?
Do they just love math so much that once they finish their homework, they want to work on extra math problems just for fun? Anyone? If you answered no, then you are not alone. While your child may not think math is important for their future, we know better. That's because Infinity the Math Institute offers the best math tutors in Las Vegas, produces the best results at the best prices for kids of all ages. Infinity the Math Institute does it all. Does your child need prep for the SATs? Right now, SAT preparation classes in November are just $15. Fractions, algebra, geometry, decimals, you name it. Plus, Infinity offers homeschool programs, free seminars for parents and students. And whether your child is transitioning from elementary school to middle school to high school, or preparing for college, Infinity can help. Classes are filling up. Call us now to find out more. 702-768-1777. That's 768-1777. You want the best results for your child? One call to Infinity can have a huge impact on your child's future. Call now. 768-1777. Tell them the Vegas Take sent you.
My name is Janine McCoy with United Blood Services, and we need your help. Blood donations are low during this time of year. Take an hour out of your day to save 3 patients' lives. Donate now. Go to bloodhero.com, or you can call us at 702-233-9620.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON.
I'm not trying to hide the fact that I have disdain for the accusations in the process.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Lindsey Graham. He is somebody I would call an unreasonable Republican, although I would use other words for Lindsey Graham, a coward. He sold his soul. He puts himself and his job before America. Yeah. Thank you, Lindsey Graham. I'm sure the late John McCain would be very happy the way you're conducting yourself and your behavior over the last couple of years. Anyway, welcome back to the show. It is the Vegas Take. Quickly, coming up here in the 11 a.m. hour, this is going to be a lot of fun. UNLV legend, NFL legend. Oh, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. I got a lot of questions to ask for this guy. And also, we're going to ask him about his church and about his remnant ministries. The legend himself, Randall Cunningham, will be joining us in hour number 3, and we'll ask him a lot of questions about the new UNLV football hire. But as I teased it last segment, and I do talk about this from time to time, and I think it's an important conversation to have, and it's easy to distinguish disagreeing with somebody that votes for Donald Trump for the reasons that I think are somewhat reasonable in regards to policy. If you want to talk about policy with Donald Trump, and that's the reason you're not going to vote for a Democrat, then I think that is a fair discussion to have. If you are willing to admit that what the president did at the very least in this phone call with the president of the Ukraine was not reasonable, that it was not right, that it was, something that was inappropriate beneath the presidency to withhold aid with a foreign government and to bring up the Bidens in that conversation, while you might think as a Republican that it is not an impeachable offense, and that's fine. We can have this discussion. Technically, I would disagree with you, but I'm willing to have that discussion with a reasonable Republican. But there are so many unreasonable Republicans out there. And look, there are unreasonable Democrats out there as well. If a Democrat says something that is not reasonable, I'm not a Nancy Pelosi fan. I'm not a Chuck Schumer fan. I'm not even a Joe Biden fan. And I did not vote for Barack Obama. So nobody can call into the show and say, well, you know what, Brian? You attack the president every day. You're a liberal. You're a snowflake. But you wouldn't believe the messages I get on a daily basis from people that will label me a libtard, that will label me a liberal, that will call me a snowflake. Why? Because I dislike a man who cheats on his wives. I dislike a man that has unprotected sex with a porn star just a few months after his wife has a child. That I dislike a man who goes after a POW, in this case, John McCain, and he says he didn't respect him because he was captured. By the way, the same man who dodged the military and claimed he had bone spurs, and that doctor who wrote him that note, who has since passed away, his family saying that it was a bunch of crap, that he did that as a favor to the Trump family, that I dislike a man who is spoon-fed his whole life, that I dislike a man who attacks women based on their looks. Do you remember when Ted Cruz was running against Donald Trump, and Donald Trump goes on his Twitter page and puts up a picture of Melania Trump and then puts up a picture of Ted Cruz's wife, comparing looks, going after a woman based on looks? Why? Are you a snowflake? Are you a liberal? Are you a lefty because you dislike a man for those reasons? Many of my reasons have absolutely nothing to do with policy. Remember, Donald Trump, in all due respect, was a Democrat for much of his life. I don't even really consider Donald Trump a Republican. Those aren't the reasons why I dislike Donald Trump. It has nothing to do with the fact that I might support somebody on the left. It has nothing to do with that. But there are unreasonable people out there. And you know what? It breaks my heart to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway because I think it's important. The type of person that I'm talking about now. Now, Pat Cassell is a friend of mine. Let me make no mistake about it. I think he's a good guy. He's a guy that's been on this show. He's a Republican. And, you know, he took my family out to dinner not that long ago. He's a good dude. I think he's a nice person. And trust me, I wouldn't say that about some of these other unreasonable Republicans. But I think Pat Cassell is an unreasonable Republican. And the reason why I say that, I'm looking at his Facebook page over the course of the last couple of days. He's calling the Democrats, you know, evil. He's calling Schiff and Pelosi all liars. And he's going after Hunter Biden. You know, Matt Gaetz, quickly, he's in there in Congress, and he's talking about Hunter Biden and his drug issues and his alcohol abuse. When Hunter Biden is the guy, when Matt Gaetz is the guy that had a DUI that put everybody's lives at risk because he decided to get into a car incapacitated. But he's the one that's going to talk about Hunter Biden, unreasonable Republican and a partisan hack. Now, I think Matt Gaetz is just an awful human being. I would not say that about Pat Cassell. But the reason why I bring this stuff up is because if you go on Twitter or you go on social media and all you do is blast the Democrats, right? They're all evil. They're all liars. They all hate this country. If you're one of those people that calls Schiff dishonest, a criminal, but you fail to recognize that our president right now is, forget about even crimes, if you fail to recognize that our president is dishonest, at the very least is a liar that cares more about himself than the American people, if you fail to recognize that the man is just not a good human being, if you can't even admit that in a conversation, then I'm sorry, but you have zero, and I mean zero, credibility. If for 8 years you went after Barack Obama and you thought he was just a horrible human being, and we've had people call in and call him Hussein Obama, and you think he's a terrorist, and you still believe he wasn't born in this country, and you think he was just horrible for the American people, but for the last couple of years you haven't criticized Donald Trump, his behavior, or any of that, then you have zero credibility, and you are a partisan hack, and either you are extremely unintelligent or you're just an ass kisser and you're wearing the Donald Trump knee pads. That is what I am talking about, and we're taking your phone calls on that. I like talking to reasonable Republicans. In fact, I enjoy it, just like I like talking to reasonable people in general. The number to call is 702-257-5396. Again, that number, if you want to be a part of this conversation, 702-257-5396 is the number to call. There are reasonable people on this planet Earth, and then there are unreasonable people. And the reason why I brought up Pat Cassell is because I think he's being completely unreasonable, going after every Democrat in the book. Everybody. Adam Schiff is the devil, right? Nancy Pelosi, they're all liars. They're all hacks. They don't care about the American people, but you sit there and you think that Donald Trump, and the reason why he brought up the Bidens in that conversation, had everything to do with corruption in the Ukraine and nothing to do with his own personal gain, for own political gain. If you believe that, you are a moron. It's one thing to disagree with somebody. It's another thing to sit there and think that all Donald Trump cares about is you and me. He doesn't care about himself. He doesn't put his family first. He puts you first because he wants to make America great again. If you're one of those people, then I'm sorry, you are unreasonable. One of those people that I would call an unreasonable Republican.
You're unreasonable if you think that Donald Trump doesn't want or wants to make the country better.
What I said is that's not what I said. You're not listening. I said you are unreasonable if you think that the president doesn't deeply care about himself and his family and doesn't put them before the country.
I have no problem with the president or anyone for that matter caring about their family.
I didn't say they can't care about their family. You're completely misconstruing what I'm saying. I'm saying is in that phone call.
You're saying that he's enriching his family at the expense of the country?
That's a fact. If you look at it's a fact.
It'd be a little different if there was no smoke with this Ukraine situation, if Joe Biden didn't go on TV, what was it 4 or 5 or 6 years ago, and say that, if this particular prosecutor is not fired within 6 hours, I'm not giving up $1 billion. If Hunter Biden wasn't getting paid $60,000 a month, if the Burisma situation didn't take place, if Ukraine probably was involved in Hillary Clinton's emails or in the whole situation with the election again, but if there was no smoke, then I would think that this would be a little odd. But considering there's a lot going on here involving Ukraine, and it's probably a corrupt government, and the money may be going to something egregious like terrorism. You don't really know where that money's going. I don't have a huge problem with him looking into, because to me it's a standard compromise within foreign nations. Okay. But again, if this was just a conversation with maybe like a Denmark or a different country like that where none of these things had actually taken place, whether they're proven or not, but plausible, definitely smoke, and I'm assuming there's some fire, then it would be different in my opinion.
Okay, here's my problem with what you just said. And by the way, if you want to join us, the number to call 702-257-5396. Again, that number 257-5396. I have a problem with a lot of what you just said. First of all, there is no evidence. Hold on, let me finish.
There was also a very, very brief investigation with House Democrats directly involved. I'm listening.
Right. There is absolutely no evidence, and I mean no evidence, to support the fact that Joe Biden wanted this prosecutor fired for his own personal benefit. In fact, there were many Republicans, people fail to realize this, Republicans that were speaking out and wanted this guy fired as well. Why? Because he wasn't doing enough to prevent corruption. So Republicans want to spin that. Also, number two, there is no doubt that Hunter Biden got this job. We've been through this before. He got the job mainly because his father was the vice president. There are no laws or evidence to show that they broke the law. That is number two. Number three, these conspiracy theories, okay? The Ukraine, there is no evidence, according to our CIA, the FBI, that Ukraine interfered in the 2016 elections. But any time, and I mean any time, that Vladimir Putin is put in a corner, that the Russians are put in a corner, for whatever reason, Donald Trump is wearing the Vladimir Putin knee pads, and he decides to defend an evil, murderous dictator. Let's take your phone calls. 702-257-5396. Again, 257-5396, the number to call. Let's go to Paul. Paul, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, Paul?
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Well,
I'm doing good.
I think I can tell how passionate you are about this whole thing. The only thing that I would say you're misguided about is, we're all going to choose a side, but, it's just choosing bad over worse. And the simple fact is, all politicians are parasites. I don't care which side they're on.
Can I comment on that, Paul?
Yeah, absolutely.
And stay on the line. I don't disagree with you. I would say the majority of politicians, both on the right and the left, are out for themselves. I agree. And I think most of them, not all of them, but most of them are parasites. I agree with what you just said for the most part. As far as choosing a side, Paul, you have the right to vote for the lesser of two evils. And anyone has that right. I choose not to. I didn't vote for Hillary Clinton. I didn't vote for Donald Trump because I don't like either of them. That's just my right, Paul. So we disagree on that.
So you didn't vote at all, right?
I did not vote, no, because I did not support either candidate.
That's
Paul.
a solid moral stand,
Brian.
Good work.
Yeah.
I did the same as you.
Okay, so we agree on that then.
Yeah, absolutely. That's like I said. I mean, it's kind of like I was in the military, and our kind of a statement that we made was hope for the best but expect the worst.
Right. No, Paul,
and
listen.
That's kind of what we have here.
Make no mistake about it. It is sad that these are the best candidates in this country that we can find. It's sad. It's a joke. There are a lot of really intelligent, smart people out there, good people, that I think would do better serving this country. And I'm waiting for that to happen. I think there are a few candidates on the Democratic side that I could support, but there's nobody that really excites me.
It's time to run, Oprah. You're ready to go.
Well, I don't know if
Come on, Mark Cuban.
Why? I think that it's as people, there are not enough requirements for someone to become a candidate.
Yeah.
It's what it is the only thing they have on each other is to smear each other.
Yeah.
Well, I've never slept with my brother's wife, or
Right.
that's what they hang their ads on. And I never slapped my wife around, but I do have 5 kids with 4 other women, but they were all bad women, and it was their fault.
And a trapdoor in my basement.
Yeah, Paul, I appreciate your comments, Paul, and I don't disagree with anything you said. But
all I have to say is, calm down a little, man. You're going to blow a gasket.
That's what I do, Paul.
Take it easy.
I really appreciate that, Paul.
I got passion, Paul, but you are right. Sometimes I do blow a gasket.
I think it's that hat.
No, it's when JD shows up an hour late to the show and shows up in the middle of the segment.
That hat's giving you a little too much passion today.
Oh, by the way, for people that have no idea the hat that I'm wearing that are listening right now, go to our YouTube page.
What is
plug
that
it,
anyways?
thevegastake.com.
Is
702
that snakeskin?
I don't know. 702-257-5396 is the number to call. Again, 257-5396. Let's go to Steven. Steven, you're next on the Vegas Take. What's up?
Hey, what's up, Steven?
Hey, what's up? What's up, fellas? Hey, let me say something to, I want to say something to JD. JD, I mean, I really can't believe you honestly believe that Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, they were in Ukraine for some nefarious reasons. There was a multiple country, basically opinion that the prosecutor was corrupt and he wasn't investigating nobody. So you keep bringing it up, and then you know the CIA or the FBI, all intelligence agencies said they had nothing to do with it. Secondly, Donald Trump was never a successful businessman. He's a liar, he's a crook. His daughter's right now has got all kind of patents in China. The younger Don Jr. is a loser. He's a dummy. Okay, so I don't know how you defend him.
And a poacher. He's also a poacher.
Say what now?
He's also a poacher. He likes to kill endangered animals for sport.
But I don't care. You know, I mean, well, we know that's his ego. You know, we know. So he goes out and hunts and all that.
I think he just. I think he has a lot of anger towards his father, and he takes it out on endangered animals.
Steven, hang on the line. Hang on the line. Yeah. JD, I want you to respond to those comments.
You know, here's the deal with Hunter Biden. He was discharged from the Navy for cocaine use. He has. I'm just saying he's not exactly a great source. Why was Ukraine? Let me finish, please. Why was Ukraine paying him 60? Considering he's not a Ukrainian, he's a United States citizen. Why are they paying him? Why are they paying him $60,000 a month to get into a field that he has absolutely zero experience and/or business being in, especially with a company like Burisma, who may be attached to a corrupt Ukrainian government.
So what?
What do you mean? So what? So why would a company like that want Hunter Biden? Why would they want him? How is Hunter Biden helping? How is Hunter Biden helping that company unless he's got a direct connection to his father, who happens to be the vice president of the United States? Oh, exactly. And what's his father doing? And what's his father doing for that company? And is his father getting compensated under the table to that company? Those are the questions that I ask. It would be different if he was a stand-up citizen. He's not.
All right, let's let Steven respond. Go ahead.
But we already know it's been over 6 years, and there's no criminality there, no criminality at all. So it's just a spin game for what the Republicans and especially the senators and the congressmen, they keep throwing his name up. It has no significance to Trump. What he wanted from the new president was to put out dirt on potential running mate. And he didn't even want him to investigate.
I think that's obvious. That's obvious. Any reasonable person would agree with that.
Right.
And that being said, I don't think he even needed dirt on Joe Biden. He's going to destroy Joe Biden. It's not going to be a conversation.
Are you smoking?
I'm being 100% honest. Joe Biden is Donald Trump light with less money, less charisma, and less of a social media following or an understanding how to leverage it properly. He's also ridiculously awful at marketing.
First of all, Joe Biden.
Donald Trump will wipe the floor with Joe Biden in 2020, whether he looked into him or not. The issue is here. His son. No. And the Republicans, they're concentrating on 2020. The Democrats are still concentrating on 2016. They're trying to win an election they already lost. The Republicans they're several steps ahead right now. I'm dead serious right now. And you've called in multiple times and you asked me the same question multiple times and my response has maintained the same.
JD, well, you know what? Good luck drinking that Kool-Aid, man.
All right, we appreciate the call, Stephen.
Good call.
Thank you. I think Stephen made some valid points. I don't agree with everything he said. By the way, just for the record, let's be clear here, because I think you said that Hunter Biden is the one that was poaching animals. We're talking about Don Jr.
No, I said Don Jr. poaches animals.
Okay,
yeah,
maybe I misheard what you said. But look, the bottom line is this. We talk about what's reasonable and what's not reasonable. There is nothing against the law for someone to get a job because of who their father is, if their father happens to be the vice president. We know that Hunter Biden got this job and he got the connection because the vice president, the same reason why Donald Trump's daughter is making all this money with her deals in China.
Donald Trump's daughter's working for herself. She has her own brand.
So she has benefited off of.
She's getting trademarks.
That's absurd.
She's not working with a company that's working with a corrupt government.
Do you realize that she went over?
It's a totally different conversation, Brian.
No, it's not. And
yes,
I'll tell
it
you.
is.
And I'll tell you why.
She's just getting her own trademarks.
No, it's not. And I will tell you why. She has made numerous trips to China after her father became the hold on, let me finish.
For her cosmetic
After
line.
her father became the president of the United States, and you cannot look me in the face and say she would have gotten these deals done if her father wasn't in office. Certainly not the deals. If you look at the financial gain that Ivanka Trump and her sons and the Trump brand has made since their father has become the president. What are we talking about here, JD? I'll tell you.
Which is
hold
totally,
on.
that's capitalism.
No,
It's the same reason why Trump is having foreign dignitaries stay as hotels and golf at his golf courses and making money off that. That's just capitalism.
You got to let me finish. The point I'm trying to make is this, and it is a very simple point. Donald Trump's family has profited off the fact that Donald is the president of the United States.
Well,
let me finish. Okay, let me finish. The reason why Hunter Biden profited, and we're talking about money here. When it all comes down to it, it's money. Hunter Biden profited off the fact because of the connections that his father was the vice president. Donald Trump's kids have profited off the fact that their father is the president of the United States. Excuse me, there is no difference in this situation.
There is a giant difference.
There's not.
The Trump brand existed well before their father became president of the United States.
They're still profiting.
Hunter Biden,
So what?
Hunter Biden would have not gotten a sniff at that
So what?
Ukrainian job.
So because they already had a business, my opinion, that's not valid. What I'm saying.
Ivanka's business is
You're not making any sense.
Of course, Sam, is cosmetics. Hunter Biden was working for a company connected to a corrupt government, Brian.
He did not break the law, so don't play that game. He didn't break the law.
We don't know if he broke the law.
We know because it's been investigated. Yes, it has.
That was a very brief investigation.
Because it was a brief investigation.
Obviously, the investigation wasn't thorough enough. That's why Donald Trump wants to link it. No, I'm not.
Ridiculous.
I'm absolutely
argument.
not. It's not unreasonable to assume that Hunter and Joe Biden were exchanging money on behalf of the company of Burisma.
There is
and
no
the Ukrainian
evidence to support that. So if you want to spout your conspiracy theories,
it's not a conspiracy theory. Why would they pay him $720,000 a year?
Well, I heard
when
from
he has absolutely zero
from a
experience
Democrat
whatsoever?
you got a sex change last week. So is it valid for me to talk about that on the air?
That's not even in the same conversation.
Yes, it is. It's a conspiracy theory. You are a conspiracy theorist.
Was I seen at a hospital with a plastic surgeon who specializes in such things?
Have you been
watching? Of course not.
Have you been watching InfoWars the last couple days?
Hunter Biden was literally paid $720,000 by a country.
He didn't break the law.
By a company in the country.
Do you know how much money Ivanka Trump has made?
Yeah,
Do you know how much money she's made in the last couple of years? And now her bottom line has skyrocketed since her father became the president. JD, hold on a second.
Again, Brian, she owns those.
We're talking about
she owns
money.
Those products. Hunter Biden was just he was a tag-along situation.
Okay, let me explain this one more time because I don't think you understand what I'm saying.
No, you don't get it. Ivanka Trump she's getting her own trademarks for her own companies. Hunter Biden was being paid by a company who wanted favors from the United States.
It doesn't matter.
A large amount of money.
It doesn't matter.
And I would say the chances are very strong that Joe Biden and Hunter Biden were exchanging money on behalf of Burisma.
All right, we got to try to squeeze in
and the relationship with the United States.
I want to try to squeeze in. I have 20 seconds for each of these callers because then we got to go to break. Let's go to Chris. Chris, I got 20 seconds for you. I'm up against a break. Go.
What's up, Chris?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Doing great.
Good. Hey, man, this is apples and oranges. What your conversation is. The Trump family already had business.
Doesn't matter. They're still profiting. They're still profiting.
Biden is just a flunky doing
okay. Say goodbye to this guy. Say goodbye to this guy. Say goodbye to this guy. No, it's not. They're both profiting off the fact that their fathers are in office. Let's go to Joel. Joel, you're next. Go ahead.
What's up, Joel?
Okay. More importantly, did the Bidens break U.S. law or Ukrainian law?
Ding, 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 ding. There you go. You're right.
U.S. law. Why in the hell didn't Trump get the FBI or the CIA to deal with it? If it's Ukrainian law, they did.
Exactly.
Why does Trump care at all?
Exactly. Joel, that is such a great point. Trump could have gone to the DOJ. He decided not to. And we got that clown who called in before you who attacks Hunter Biden for doing drugs. You know, that's the same guy who attacks people on the left 24/7. Good grief. All right. Coming up next, legendary UNLV quarterback and NFL quarterback Randall Cunningham. Next on the Vegas Take. We'll be back right after this.
Do you know that mortgage rates have plummeted to a 3-year low and are nearing historic lows? At the same time, home values have gone up roughly 50% in the last several years. However, they seem to be peaking now. Maybe it's time to put that equity to work by paying off high-rate credit cards, personal loans, or remodel your house. Hi, I'm Wesley Hoagland with Westland Financial. Let us put you in a position to do any of these things with no closing costs. That's right, nothing's rolled into your loan, whether it's conventional, FHA, or VA, will pay your title, settlement, lender, and recording fees. Maybe you just want to lock in a lower rate or refinance out of paying mortgage insurance. All it takes is a 5-minute phone call to see how we can save you thousands of dollars a year. So call Westland at 888-455-3669. It's the biggest no-brainer in the history of mankind. Call us at 888-455-3669. 888-455-3669. That's 888-455-3669.
NMLS number 3304. Not all loans apply. Equal housing lender.
Looking for that perfect new piece of furniture for your home? A New Concept Furniture is the place to start and end your search. They'll beat any price on the internet, and they're here locally, so you can feel what you're buying first. Go to A New Concept Furniture today at 4255 South Grand Canyon to see for yourself the slick, modern, shiny store that mirrors our shiny city. A New Concept. Check out their showroom or call them at 702-570-2240. That's 702-570-2240.
SportsX Radio Nation, what's up? It's Ken Thompson, host of SportsX Radio, reminding you to catch me at my new time, 8 to 10 p.m. for all the local Vegas sports coverage, plus the national scene as well. That's SportsX Radio on the new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN.
V is for victory, except on Saturdays when V is for veterans. That's Veterans Talk, the Forgotten Promise. Join us every Saturday from noon to 1.
Veterans Talk every Saturday at noon on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN.
If you have room in your home to care for a homeless pet, the Animal Foundation needs your help now. Summer's almost here and the shelter is filling up fast. By becoming a foster parent for as little as a few weeks, you can help save the life of an animal waiting for their forever home. To learn more, visit animalfoundation.com or call 702-384-3333, extension 958.
Whoa, long time no see. It's me, the Rock t-shirt in the back of your closet. Dude, remember? You crowd surfed in me, man. But you haven't worn me in like forever. I get it, you're retired, but I still got some rock left in me. So take me to Goodwill, where I could really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff, create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Kilmeade, Hannity, Levin, 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN, Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
Schumer demands. Weather kills. I'm Christopher Cruz. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer has made it clear in a letter to Republican Majority Leader Mitch McConnell that he wants to call 4 administration officials to testify in the likely Senate trial. That trial to follow the impeachment of President Trump in the House on Wednesday.
Or do we want to be engaged in a cover-up? No one has given a reason why these shouldn't testify. If President Trump is so certain that he did nothing wrong, what is he afraid of? What is he hiding when he says Mulvaney or Bolton or the other 2 witnesses shouldn't testify? He hasn't given a single answer.
McConnell reportedly doesn't want any witnesses to testify. The trial to begin likely in January. At least 8 people have died in weather-related crashes in Missouri, Kansas, and Nebraska during a storm that's dumped nearly a foot of snow in places. And now this late word, a tornado emergency has been declared for Alexandria, Louisiana by the National Weather Service. It's a cold and stormy day in the Northeast. The U.S. and China today agreed on phase 1 of a trade deal. White House economic advisor Larry Kudlow.
Intellectual property, protecting the family jewels, protecting creativity, protecting the technological advances that make America the best economy in the world. That is going to attract huge volumes. I'm talking about hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars of new investment.
A federal judge today has at least temporarily stopped Georgia's planned mass purge of its voting rolls. The Secretary of State's office had planned to begin the purge of more than 300,000 inactive voter registrations this morning. Boeing is reportedly considering ending production of its troubled 737 MAX airplane. The Wall Street Journal reports the company's board met yesterday and today to try to decide what to do next. The Dow, S&P 500, and NASDAQ all steady since the open, up about 1%. I'm Christopher Cruz.
It's time to check the roads in the KDWN Traffic Center.
This report sponsored by Valley Auto Mall. Watch for slowing for the crash reported on Town Center Drive north of Charleston. Police and fire with the scene. Expect slowing in lane restrictions. No slowing to report on I-15, the resort corridor, looking really good. 15 in its entirety between the Spaghetti Bowl and the Southern Beltway is in great shape. No slowing. No delays on the Southern Beltway east side or west side. The Valley Auto Mall has over 7,000 vehicles to choose from. Shop, search, and compare at one convenient location. Visit the Valley Auto Mall in Henderson. It's the biggest one of all. John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
It's open enrollment season, and MediShare is the Christian healthcare sharing ministry that saves most families about $500 a month. Google MediShare and see if it's a fit for you. MediShare, healthcare you can believe in.
Psst, Bob, quick, the neighbors. There they go again. Jeez, it's like clockwork. Every weekend, he grabs his clubs, she grabs a duffel, and they're gone for the night. And when they come back, they look so relaxed and happy. Where do you think they go?
Well, they're not rich, so it must be affordable. Maybe some kind of marriage retreat?
Oh, right, with golf clubs. And she looks so refreshed.
We could use some of whatever it is. Go ask them when they get back.
Well, they're back, and you won't believe it.
Surprise me.
They've been going to Casablanca Resort in Mesquite on that $99 room and golf getaway. Sometimes they go for the $99 room and spa getaway. They love it.
Hey, we can afford $99, and it's only a little more than an hour's drive. Let's treat ourselves.
Book your $99 room and golf or spa getaway today at mesquitegaming.com or call 877-GETAWAY. Casablanca Resort in Mesquite, just like Vegas used to be. Must be 21 years or older.
Cal Sanders again with Cal Air Cooling and Heating. Are you ready for the holidays? Are you ready for your invited guests, family, or unexpected company? Are you getting those floors and carpets cleaned? Have you thought about your air? I mean those grills and vents, the ductwork behind those vents. This is the time of year you're most susceptible to cold and flu. Many are seeing some of the benefits of better filtration in their cooling and heating system. But if you haven't cleaned the ductwork that delivers that air, you have only done half the job. Cleaning your ducts and vents have additional benefits. If you'd like to reduce the time you spend dusting, call today and get that system cleaned and let us analyze your ducting to make sure it is sealed so that the filtration that you do choose is keeping the air that you breathe clean and healthy. We at Cal Air have many great options with those with asthma and allergies, or you who are just annoyed with the dust. We are the healthy air experts. Check us out, Angie's List, Yelp, Google, State Contractor Board, Better Business Bureau, or our website, cal4air.com.
Cal Air, we'll be right there. 702-6234-AIR.
License number 18001A.
Maybe it's time to take a fresh look at everything we thought we knew about landing a great job. For instance, what if phenomenal careers start at the middle school science fair instead of at the job fair? If being the captain of the robotics team means just as much on a college application as being captain of the football team. And if knowing the quadratic formula is every bit as important as knowing the right people. Well, the fact is, the jobs of the future will be heavily geared towards science, technology, engineering, and math. In other words, the future is STEM. More opportunities, better pay. And the road to these great jobs starts as early as middle school. So if you're a student, talk to your school counselor about STEM. If you're a parent, talk to your kids. Because the job you'll get in the future may very well depend on what you do today. A public service message from America's Navy.
1015 FM, 720 AM, KDON, the talk of Las Vegas. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us. Wow, has it been an interesting month for UNLV football. They announced their head coach on Friday. They just had the press conference, and one of those that was in attendance, I think UNLV fans would say probably one of the most important people that they want at a UNLV press conference when they hire a new coach. This man is a legend. He is a legendary UNLV football player, obviously a legend in the NFL, and he's done so many great things. He and his wife, Felicity, began to host an intimate Bible study back in the day for friends and family in their home in Henderson, and then it turned into the Remnant Ministries. He is Pastor Randall Cunningham. Randall, thank you so much for being here. How are you?
Hey, buddy. You know it's my pleasure to help out anytime I can. I'm happy to be on.
Appreciate
Thanks a lot, Randall.
Appreciate that, Randall. Obviously, I want to get to your ministries, but before, I got to ask you some basic questions about UNLV football. Your thoughts before we get to this new hire. Let me ask you this. Since you left the program, why is it that you think that the program has struggled so mightily in winning football games? I know that's a loaded question.
You know, I don't know. I think that the focus is there now. I think that we've seen a lot of what we didn't expect But I don't know really where that lies. But I think when we look at what happened with Coach Harvey Hyde and the team going 3-8, and then he went 7-4-1 or whatever we did, and we just barely missed a bowl game. That would have been a bowl game back then. And then you look now at the last season that we played in 84, I think it was. We went 11-2, and set many records and different things. After that point, there were things that went on with the whole school, with just a lot of things that weren't good with the NCAA. And so I think we went through a time of just really having to recheck and try to figure out a new way of doing things, a lot of changes of face. But I think now with what Desiree is doing, we're turning things around. And it's at a place now where people want to come back and be a part of UNLV.
Do you think that Sam Boyd Stadium itself and the fact that it was almost 25 minutes away from campus was a deterrent?
I don't necessarily think that's it, because when we were winning, we were getting, 20,000 way back. We only had 10,000 students in the school, But I think when you look at today, you think about it being right in the center of Las Vegas, Nevada, it's really going to be great to find out how this works out for the team.
So when I look at the basketball program back in the day when Jerry Tarkanian, the late Jerry Tarkanian, was still with us, we saw some people like Larry Johnson, right? We saw Greg Anthony. We saw former UNLV Rebel basketball players around the program. Do you think, because you've made some suggestions that you're going to take advantage of the fact that they hired this guy, Arroyo, and you're going to spend some more time around the program. Can you talk a little bit about that and how important, it is for former players like yourself to be around the program and support the program?
Yeah, I think when we look at life now and we really consider everything that's happening with the school, whether it was Larry Johnson being a part of the program back in the day or whether it was Danny Tarkanian, I think that we lost face losing, Pop Tarkanian, losing Coach Harvey Hyde. So I think that's where we lost a lot. But when you look at it today and you see myself and other people, and you got to think of where it starts. It starts with somebody like the Fertittas. It starts with the donors, the people who are willing to say, I believe and I want to be a part of this. Because if they don't get involved, we're in the same predicament. It starts with people behind the scenes like Napoleon McCallum bringing the Raiders to Las Vegas, Nevada, and saying, hey, it can work here, and dealing with Mr. Davis and just saying, let's get this worked out. And now we have this big stadium over there.
Yeah.
And people are getting excited about it. It's a lot of the behind the scenes things, and it doesn't happen without the Fertittas. It doesn't happen without the McCallums. And so that's what really draws us back. We all want to win, but Las Vegas is now a major city.
Right.
And when you talk about having soccer here, baseball, you start talking about UNLV's football program, and hey, we're building our basketball program. There's a hype that comes where people say, okay, I want to be a part of it. And then all the new faces that have moved here from California, Michigan, the East Coast, and the people are saying, hey, I want to live in Las Vegas, and are beginning to fill the valley up. That's changing the face of this town. And it takes our authorities at UNLV to get this done. It takes the Board of Regents coming together and saying, okay, it's time.
Yeah, no question. If you're just joining us, we're speaking with former UNLV and NFL legend Randall Cunningham joining us on the line. So, Randall, talk to me a little bit now about the future. You've alluded to it a little bit. Now, I understand you had a chance, obviously, to speak with Marcus Arroyo, the new UNLV head football coach. Can you tell me what that interaction was like with him and that discussion, if you can?
Well, yeah. I think a lot of this began when I went to the last game at UNLV. They invited us all to come out to the game, and I was like, yeah. I mean, not just because it's our last game there, but because all my boys are coming back.
Right.
The coaches are coming back, and yeah, let's get all 200 of us out there. And then I got the opportunity to hug Desiree, our athletic director, and it was like she's a very pleasant person, and she's very determined. She's excited. And I was like, wow, I haven't had this feeling, at the school in quite some time. Not to put that against anybody else, but it's just like, it wasn't just a business, hey, shake your hand. It was like I hugged her. She hugged me. It's like, man, we're so happy you're here. I said, no, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me. And that's where it began. And so then when she called me up and said, hey, we're going with a new coach, and just want you to know we want you in the loop, and just want you to know that we're reaching out to you. And it's like, wow.
That's big.
Okay.
Can you mind if I?
Nice.
Yeah, that's great. Randall, do you mind if I ask you this? And I'm not asking you to throw anybody under the bus, but do you feel like in the past, the invitation and the reaching out to you maybe wasn't as strong as it should have been until now? Is that fair to say?
Well, let me go this route. There have been so many people that said, Randall, would you come and be our head coach for $1? And then the first year you work for $1, just donate your time. And I really put consideration to that. So they would pay me $1 the first year, and they just wanted me to consider it. And it was like, I really don't feel I'm there right now. I would do it for $1. And then
when did they ask you to do that? Can you tell us when?
That was it was years back. But
Okay.
it was the point of they did come to me, but starting a brand new church and trying to travel around recruiting and things like that, didn't allow it to happen. I thought about how I could make the schedule work, like McCartney did with Colorado. But I think what happened was it kind of like just went to the side, and it was like, well, at least we tried.
Right.
But the other thing I want to say is that when Marcus called me, he said, hey, bro, Randall, man, this is Marcus Arroyo, and I'm going to be coming there, and I want you to be involved, brother. I want to see your face. It was like, really? Oh, cool. So now,
cool.
I'm pumped up because, it's kind of like befriending a person. It's kind of like accepting somebody new in town. And it's like, wow, man, I get to go to UNLV games. And now I'm looking, maybe, I can get a box over there and find out how much the boxes cost and entertain people there and things like that. Hopefully we'll get some 1:00 games where I can go to all the home games. I really want to be involved. I would love to be a consultant and really be the fly on the wall, who they come to and say, hey, we've hired you to do this. What do you think? I mean, I understand football. I understand personalities. I've been behind the scenes doing a lot of work over the years with players, and whether it was, just making sure the kids are okay and getting counseled. And it's not just football.
Of course.
Basketball, it was track and field, and just a lot of behind the scenes stuff. That's what
I have to interject and say, for a legend like yourself, Randall, I know you're a very modest guy. I think it would be wise for UNLV not to charge you for a box. Go ahead. Go ahead, JD.
And it's great that you get to watch these games at a $1.2 billion stadium like Legion Stadium. Let me ask you this: if Marcus Arroyo, reached out to you via text or via call in the next couple hours and said, hey, Randall, I want you to coach my quarterbacks, would you say yes?
I would strongly consider it. I'm not expecting that call.
So you're saying that if he called you, okay, first of all, because this is unbelievable. You're saying that if he called you, you would consider it. You don't think he's going to ask you to do that?
I think that he's been thinking about this job for a long time, and I think that he knows what he wants to do. I think that probably if I wasn't pastoring a church, it would be a more of an opportunity.
Sure.
But I think that he's already been thinking about coaching. Like he said, I wanted that job, and in his mind, I'm sure that he has all the pieces to the puzzle. He probably is not thinking, I'm going to grab Randall Cunningham and take him away from his church.
Right. No, that's understandable. And I certainly want to talk about your remnant ministries here in just a few minutes. But, can you share with us how long did it take him to reach out to you? Because it sounds like he reached out to you pretty quickly.
Oh, he reached out to me before. I mean, like as soon as I think he agreed.
Oh, wow.
He called me.
That's great.
I was like, I almost didn't answer because it was a unknown number. I normally will call you back. There's like a lot of phone numbers, names fell out of my phone with this new Apple update. But Desiree told me, he says, yeah, I'm going to call you. And he called me, and it was like, wow.
That's great.
It was like we were brothers, like on the phone, and now I know he's a California guy. He understands quarterbacking and all that. And it's like, wow, man, it's like kind of like a hand in glove relationship. And I told him, I said, hey, brother, I'm here for you. I don't care if it's like where you move, what you want to do. I said, I'll personally be your brother and your friend. I even asked him, who's your real estate agent? Because I'll show you where to live. And all
that's awesome.
Very cool.
Tell me whatever you want.
That's great.
Hooking him up with the right people in town. Making sure that he's with the people who are on the up and up, who are going to, not expect anything out of him, but let him be the coach and bless him whenever
Sure.
he needs a blessing.
To have a guy like you, Randall, do that for him, I'm sure UNLV appreciates it. I'm sure Francois appreciates it. And we know Marcus Arroyo appreciates it as well. Okay, so before we get to your churches, I got to ask you another football question here. So the Raiders are coming to town, as you know, Randall. I'm sure if somebody asked you back in the day when you were playing at UNLV that we would get an NFL team, you probably would have thought they were crazy.
But would have never happened when I was playing. We were told by the NFL there would never be a team in
right,
Las Vegas
because of the gambling, right?
Yep, that's right.
When you were playing in the NFL, did you guys ever talk about stuff like that? Like, did you ever know what the spread was on games? Because I've talked to some former players that say, so you never discussed it.
It wasn't anything that I was involved in because, I didn't get involved in like sports gambling and booking, and a lot of the things that were going on in the media kept us from that because you could really get in trouble in the NFL and lose your job. And I wasn't trying to lose my job for anything. I was trying to stay in the NFL. As you guys know, I played till I was 38. They had to kick me out of the NFL.
So one more NFL question. I would say you and Fran Tarkenton were two of the early quarterbacks to really integrate running into your repertoire as far as being a quarterback. And now you've got Lamar Jackson, who's probably the NFL MVP. Yeah, I mean he's ran for 1,000 yards. I mean, it's kind of unbelievable that you kind of started this trend. Do you think that this is kind of the trajectory moving forward for the standard quarterback?
No, because it's dangerous. It's dangerous in the pocket, but it's not as dangerous as when I played because they can blow your knees out, slam you on your shoulder, and our defense in Philly was ferocious, and they used to put quarterbacks out like every other game. And I remember Phil Simms going down and Neil Lomax and, Doug Williams and lots of guys getting blown up in the pocket. And I got hurt both times in the pocket. So that's why I did run. But it was more complicated. I mean, dudes could lay you out if you ran as a quarterback. Now, you could slide and you don't get hit. They're not supposed to even touch you. And in the pocket, they can't touch your leg. So
sure,
I would have played totally different back then if I had the rules they have now. But Lamar is no doubt the best running quarterback in the history of the NFL. There's no doubt about that.
I tend to agree with you on that one. So, Randall, what advice would you give a young 20, 21, 22-year-old kid that plays on the Raiders when they come to town? Because I would imagine you're going to be – I'm sure Gruden will invite you, and I'm sure you'll be speaking with these guys eventually. What advice would you give some of these guys living here in Las Vegas, playing in the NFL?
Well, one of the things that's happened is Napoleon Kaufman is the chaplain for the Raiders.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He called me a couple of days ago. He says, "Brother, you have the job. I'm putting your name in the hat. You got to take that on. You got to be the chaplain, and I'll tell you what I did, how to do it, and everything." I'm like, "Bro," I said, "I hear you," and I said, "I'm looking at UNLV and trying to figure out how I can get involved there, and then it's a lot on my plate. So I'm really just trying to figure out what I can do."
Sure.
And then with my son and daughter, getting ready for Olympic trials and Olympics, I've got that. So, there's a few things on my plate.
Yeah, just a few.
But Gruden did tell me, "Hey, brother, you have an open door policy. You come over here anytime you
That's
want."
great. That's great.
And, we've been texting each other during the year, so I'm keeping that relationship going. He was my last year in Philly, he was the offensive coordinator, and we have a great relationship. He's a great guy. He's going to be great for this town. The Raiders are going to be great for this town. It's going to be nice seeing the people flying from California, and the Raider fans here are going to be excited about it. It's going to be awesome. We've got the best stadium.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. Well, speaking of great for this town, I know that you're a modest guy, and forget about just the football stuff. Obviously, UNLV is very lucky to have you involved with the program. Again, it's going to be a win-win for everybody. But let's just talk about from a perspective of you being a pastor. My understanding back in 1999, you along with your wife Felicity began to host these intimate Bible studies for friends and family in your home in Henderson. Can you explain how that transcended and turned into Remnant Ministries and you becoming a pastor?
Yeah, well, we had the late John Michaels of Calvary Chapel, Spring Valley, as our pastor, and we had great chaplains in the NFL who sowed into our lives, and Reverend Townsend, Dr. Silas M. Townsend in New Jersey, where we pretty much began as a husband and wife to really fellowship together. And, over the years, it's been very obvious that God had a calling on our lives. And we did start at my house at 1515 Villa Rica in Henderson when Seven Hills was just being built. And quickly we had 15, 25 people. So we built a facility where my wife would teach praise dance and ballet because, she's a ballerina and it's a dance here in Harlem. And we just put the Bible study there. The next thing you know, it went to 90 people. And my pastor, John Michaels, came and said, "Hey, we've got to get you ordained." And I thought he was talking to someone else because I wasn't trying to be a pastor or anything like that.
Right.
And I was, so prayed and fasted for a month and accepted the calling back in 2003, 2004. And the next thing you know, we had 150. We built a facility with 500 seats. Now we got 600 seats, and we're up to probably 1,300 people that attend church. During Sunday, we have 3 services.
Wow.
And then we have 1,500 people that watch us online. So we've got like 3,000 people that are a part of our service. And we have people all over the world that are a part of our church who pay their tithes to the church, who call in, who write in, and that watch us through live stream each week. And I'm glad you're getting an opportunity because we have our church service coming up for Christmas. We have 3 Christmas services.
Oh, wow.
On Sunday, December 22nd, and we have, it's only for 1 hour. It's praise dance. It's singing Christmas carols, and I teach a very short message, but it goes by so quickly.
Yeah.
And our service is only 1 hour long, and we get in and we get out. And so we have 3 on Sundays, and on December 22nd, that's our Christmas service. And we really go there and we really make it a fun experience.
Randall, if only we can get that many people at UNLV basketball games. I'm sorry, that was a horrible joke, Randall. I apologize. Well, you know what? That is just so incredible. What you do here in Las Vegas. Las Vegas is very lucky to have you here. Obviously you're a class act and a legend, but I think more importantly than what you did on the field, in my personal opinion, are the things you do off the field. You are a role model to so many adults and kids. And I think the things you are doing, you and your wonderful family here in Las Vegas, it really is incredible. Randall, can you give out that information? How can people join your church and be a big part of those services? And who do they contact? Where do they go?
It's really simple. You can go online and you can push up Randall Cunningham Church. Google Randall Cunningham Church.
That's simple.
and yeah, really. And we're right here in Las Vegas, Nevada. We're Remnant Ministries. We're on the Windmill and like close to Windmill in Bermuda.
Okay, I used to live around there. Yeah, that's a nice area. Well, I got to tell you, Randall, it would be an honor and a privilege to maybe have you in studio sometime, and we can talk a little bit more about that. Thank you so much for your time. We know how busy you are, and we really do appreciate you taking some time to join us. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm not really busy. I just sit around doing nothing all day.
Well, I don't know if that's true, Randall, but you certainly are a legend, and we do appreciate your time, and we hope we can have you in studio one of these days.
Yep, that'll be great. Thanks so much for calling, and I'll be looking for your church if you can come.
I would love to do that, Randall. I will take you up on that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Randall.
Okay, there you go. Pastor Randall Cunningham. Boy, did we learn a lot in that interview.
Pastor, possibly quarterback coach.
So here's what we learned in that interview, and I'm going to have to go back and listen to it. But I didn't know this. He was offered $1 to coach the UNLV football team back in the day. We also learned that he would actually consider being the quarterback's coach at UNLV. To me, that is an absolute slam dunk. You have to make that happen. Well, Coach Arroyo, if you're listening right now, Randall Cunningham would consider being the quarterback's coach at UNLV. You have to offer him the job.
And how good would that be for recruiting, especially with the new stadium and the new Fertitta football complex?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what the major programs do. They get former players like that and they integrate them properly.
We are going to tweet that out. And we are going to hammer it. Okay, Coach Cunningham would seriously consider the UNLV quarterback coaching job. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, the guys from Sixx Gun Music are going to be joining us. They're awesome. They make their own guitars, and they have a guitar giveaway. So we're going to talk about that coming up next. You're listening to The Vegas Take.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. The world is changing. Isn't it time smoking changed too? Vuse Alto is a vapor product offering you a satisfying alternative to cigarettes. Simple to use, surprisingly quiet, and impressively powerful. Our best vapor yet at our best price ever, 99 cents, plus tax at participating retailers. 99-cent offer applies to Alto device. Pods sold separately. Underage sale prohibited.
Hi, Mark Hale here, owner of Today's Energy Store. Winter is here, temperatures are dropping, heaters are coming on, lights are going up on the trees and homes, and that means you're using more electricity. SunPower by Today's Energy Store has fair and upfront honest pricing. We've been helping Nevada homeowners with solar solutions for over 10 years. Sign up to go solar by December 31st, and you can get an extra $1,000 rebate direct from SunPower. Call 702-558-1500. That's 702-558-1500.
Looking for that perfect new piece of furniture for your home? A New Concept Furniture is the place to start and end your search. They'll beat any price on the internet, and they're here locally, so you can feel what you're buying first. Go to A New Concept Furniture today at 4255 South Grand Canyon to see for yourself the slick, modern, shiny store that mirrors our shiny city. A New Concept. Check out their showroom or call them at 702-570-2240. That's 702-570-2240.
SportsX Radio Nation, what's up? It's Ken Thompson, host of SportsX Radio, reminding you to catch me at my new time, 8 to 10 p.m. for all the local Vegas sports coverage, plus the national scene as well. That's SportsX Radio on the new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN.
Do you have pain? Do you want natural relief? Tune in to Natural Pain Relief and Wellness with Dr. Devin Luzad, Spinal Care of Nevada, Sundays, 10:30 a.m. on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDWN.
We want to take a moment to thank you, our community, for always supporting our efforts at the Shade Tree Shelter. The Shade Tree offers safe shelter for homeless and abused women and children. We help about 15 families a day, 6,500 families per year, and we can't do that without you. If you want to get involved and volunteer at the Shade Tree, please email us at volunteer@theshadetree.org. And if you want more information, check out our website at theshadetree.org. Thanks again to our wonderful Las Vegas community.
Hi, this is Trooper Chelsea Stunkel with the Nevada Highway Patrol, reminding drivers that with the recent legalization of recreational use of marijuana, it is still a form of impairment when you get behind the wheel. So please don't drive impaired. If you drive high, you will get a DUI.
Las Vegas's only FM news talk station is right here. The new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN.
The National Weather Service has declared a tornado emergency at this hour for Alexandria, Louisiana. Earlier forecasters had said tornadoes were possible today from Louisiana through southern Mississippi into western Alabama. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer has made it clear in a letter to Majority Leader Mitch McConnell that he wants an impeachment trial with witness testimony, including from acting White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney and former National Security Advisor John Bolton.
I don't know what they'll say. Maybe they'll say something exculpatory about President Trump. But for so many people who think that there are many Republicans who are saying, yeah, this looks pretty bad, but we need more evidence. This is the right evidence.
McConnell has said he doesn't want any witnesses called, and he wants the trial to end quickly. The president to make it official this week, the number of American troops in Afghanistan to be lowered to 8,600 from 12,000. South Carolina Republican Senator Lindsey Graham said the drawdown could begin later this month. I'm Christopher Cruz.
It's time to check the roads in the KDWN Traffic Center.
This report sponsored by Valley Auto Mall. Watch for slowing for the crash reported on Town Center Drive north of Charleston. Police and fire with the scene. Expect slowing in lane restrictions. No slowing to report on I-15. The resort corridor looking really good. 15 in its entirety between the Spaghetti Bowl and the Southern Beltway is in great shape. No slowing. No delays on the Southern Beltway east side or west side. The Valley Auto Mall has over 7,000 vehicles to choose from. Shop, search, and compare at one convenient location. Visit the Valley Auto Mall in Henderson. It's the biggest one of all. John Michaels from the KDWN Traffic Center.
Hi, I'm Raymond Denon, Vice President of Optima Tax Relief. If you're in debt to the IRS, there's a lot you need to know. Starting with rule number 1, don't mess with the IRS. They can garnish your paycheck, levy your bank accounts, even take your home or business. That's all true. But it's also true that there's a way out. It's called the Fresh Start Initiative. It's one of the biggest breaks the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands, even tens of thousands. Nobody knows this program like us, the experts at Optima Tax Relief. We have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, and we've resolved over $500 million in tax debt for our clients. We'll stand between you and the IRS and fight to get you the best deal possible. Don't mess with the IRS. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, Call Optima for a free consultation.
Call 800-375-2922. 800-375-2922. 800-375-2922.
Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
When you're diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer,
a million questions flood your mind.
How can this be happening?
Am I going to be able to work?
What's a subtype?
What do I do now?
We know.
We went through it too.
But once you start to understand your options,
you can partner with your doctor
and find ways to face MBC on your own terms.
Visit findyourmbcvoice.com and learn how to speak up and have a more informed conversation with your doctor.
Some questions have answers.
Visit findyourmbcvoice.com to find some of yours.
The Vegas Strong Resiliency Center is a safe haven, a place for residents, visitors, and responders affected by the tragic events of the 1 October shooting incident. Staffed with compassionate professionals, services include victim advocacy and support, counseling referrals, and help accessing the FBI's Victim Assistance Services website. The center is located at 1524 Pinto Lane. It's open weekdays from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. For more information, call 702-455-AID or 1-833-2998.
I don't know why my son would ruin himself with alcohol. Breaks my heart. I don't understand why this is happening. My therapist recommended Al-Anon family groups. I didn't want to go to Al-Anon, but I'm glad I went. Is someone's drinking breaking your heart? You might be surprised at what you can learn in an Al-Anon family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-AL-ANON or go to alanon.org.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON.
Is Donald Trump unfit to be president?
Yes.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us on a Monday. By the way, Chris Kattan, very funny comedian. He's going to be joining us on Wednesday. And since I screwed up his name, JD, can you help me out with this? We have a man running for president of the United States on the Democratic Party tonight. I'll let you announce it.
His name is David Duval.
David Duval, the golfer?
Adam Duval.
No, it's not.
No, it's Duval. Duval Patrick.
Duval Patrick, out back east there, I believe in Massachusetts. He's going to be joining us on the show tomorrow. We'll find out why he ran for president. And by the way, there are some rumors circulating about why he ran. We'll get to that tomorrow. But anyway, the people joining us in studio right now, they are awesome. They own the store Sixx Gun Music, and they make their own guitars there, and they're actually making a guitar for me. They're in the process of doing it themselves. I went to their grand opening a few weeks ago. It was awesome. This store, it's like a museum in there, really. It's incredible. So Daniel Margasa and Alicia Anderson are joining us in studio. They were in here before their grand opening. How you guys doing?
Yeah, we are busy as, one-arm paper hanger. Is that the...
That's a good thing.
Right.
So I said your store is like a museum. It really is, because, you make your own guitars from scratch, which not many, if you go to I don't want to knock on these guys, like a Guitar Center or something like that, they get them mailed in. They're company guitars. The quality isn't there as the type of guitars that you have. But I walk into your store for the first time, it was the grand opening. It was really cool. You had some local celebrities there.
Sure.
Yeah, and I'm walking around this store, and it's incredible because I go in back, and that's where you guys are actually making the guitars. You could see where everything is made from scratch.
Sawdust everywhere.
Yeah, it's
I'm
awesome.
covered in mess.
I loved it.
That's pretty much it. It is like a museum in more ways than just that, because
Yeah.
we get pieces in, probably the stuff that you didn't even notice. We actually have the 1968, Marshall cab that Slash used to record Appetite for Destruction.
No, how did you get your hands on that?
That is on I just stole it, really.
That's incredible.
I can appreciate that. One of the producers who worked on the Appetite for Destruction album has a studio back on the East Coast, and he just had this huge collection of gear that he had, taken in, that people had worked with. He had some, a piano from David Bowie. He had his cabinet. He had some of the guitars Frank Hannon used in Tesla. And at one point, he called Sixx Gun, as people do, and say, "Hey, I've just got this collection of gear, and can you, buy some of it, take some of it off my hands?" And sometimes we have to go through the approval process. Like we bought an amp through one of the techs from Angus Young. That
Oh,
also
wow.
is in the shop. I have the actual
That's so incredible.
Marshall JTM 45 that Angus used to record the Ball
That's
Breaker.
so cool. And that's what I mean when
album.
I say you walk into the store and it's like a museum.
Correct.
You know, just,
So
just
there's,
browse
there's
around.
crazy pieces everywhere, but they're
Yeah.
kind of tucked in. Some of them are not for sale. I mean, some of them might be for sale, but
Depends on the price,
it
right?
depends on the price.
Everything's got a price on
And
it.
then, of course, there's the the sawdust laid in back where we are custom building guitars, and we're doing yours. Yours is coming along quite nicely.
So for people that don't know, one of my favorite bands growing up and still my favorite band today is Live. I have like a Live shrine in my apartment. And I went up to Daniel and Alicia when they were in studio last time, and I said, I have this signed, what do you call that? A pick guard from the band.
Yep.
And I said, I've always wanted to put this on a guitar. And now you guys are making a live guitar for me, which is so cool.
We're building a guitar around your pick guard. All we had to start out with was this live signed pick guard. And I said, but you know what? It's a easy shape to do. It's very kind of standard.
Mm-hmm.
And yesterday, so Jason was telling you it's a little more than you deserve, right? I don't know about them apples.
He's
but
probably right.
he might be
There's
right.
not a lot in life I deserve. That's
so
true.
we did a build your own guitar workshop yesterday, which is one of the things we do at the shop, where you can come in and build your custom guitar.
So is that what do you charge for something like that?
Prices will start around.
Well, for a Strat, it's $349.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have the Tellies at $399.
So they're actually building their own guitars.
Yes.
Correct.
So they get a guitar out of this.
Oh, they keep the guitar.
So
yeah.
you give them all the equipment to
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
They get their own guitar, and in the process, they learn how to do it themselves.
Yes.
which is-
Correct. So
that's-
it
that's
really
cool.
is. So we work from kits because obviously, for me to
Right.
cut everybody and do every neck would be, way too expensive. So
Right.
we work from kits, and the kits are fully customizable though. So you can choose
Right,
different
right.
pickups, different tuners. You can have it pre-painted or stained or finished. You can do it
Mhm.
yourself. Come early and do it yourself. We had one gentleman do that.
That's what our
And
producer does, by the way. He does it himself. I'm sorry,
he
horrible
does it
joke.
himself.
Go ahead. I'm sorry,
So
terrible.
to leave with a guitar at the end
So
of the
bad,
day
Brian.
for $349. I mean,
Yeah.
we give you breakfast. We give you lunch. It's catered.
I like that.
Yeah, people love that, and it's such a fun class. I mean, we're just kind of making jokes.
So I'm
and,
sorry, I interrupted
know.
you too and I'm glad you gave out that information. Back to
Yeah.
back to the guitar. I'm sorry.
Well, so yesterday we had a special treat. Michael DeArmond, who is a custom pickup winder out of
Mm-hmm.
Southern California, he works in the Corona factory a lot with guys like John Cruz doing
Oh, wow.
the crazy NAMM show guitars
Sure,
and all
sure.
the real high ends. He's wound pickups for just so many guys. He's
Mhm.
doing the Mick Mars sets right now for Mick Mars for the new Motley Crue tour. He's doing those. So he had a day, and we're sort of related. So he calls me up and he says, "You think I could come to your shop and hang out and wind pickups during your build your own guitar workshop?" And I'm like, "Absolutely not. Nobody wants your crap." So he came in and he set up and he wound pickups for us
That's
all
amazing.
day. And he actually ended up doing a set for one of the guys who built a guitar yesterday.
That's crazy.
And I had him wind the pickups for your guitar.
How
mate.
cool is that?
Yes.
How
It's
cool
very
is
cool.
that?
You know
Yes.
what we need here in the studio, and I just thought about this, but we need a guitar. In the middle, it's got to say 2020. Left, it's got to have Joe Biden. Right, it's got to have Donald Trump. I'm not even joking you. Like that, we need for that to take place.
Sure.
Well, how can we get this process started?
Absolutely.
Charge
Well,
him $50,000.
Yeah, yes, it's
That's a
pretty
good
much
price,
just
that's
give me
fair.
you have the keys to your car. No, you know what? It's a lot less pricey than you think. We like to kind of pitch ourselves as the least expensive custom shop, on U.S.
Mm-hmm.
soil because we build guitars for guys who end up playing them. Okay, so it's one thing to build a guitar that's $4,000, $5,000, $6,000. What are you going to do with that guitar?
We'll put it right there.
Right. You're going to put it on the wall. You're never really going to use it. Sit behind glass case.
Right.
I want guys to be out there, using our guitars. I mean,
Right.
I want you to take it to the beach. I want you to take it to stage. I want you to be playing it. So a really well-played guitar should look like, like a 14-year-old kid's skateboard, right? Like,
Used,
it should
yeah.
look
Yeah.
used. It should look like
Yeah.
you've been playing it. I mean, if you see the real guitars that Slash and Clapton and Jeff Beck are playing, they're not
banged up. Yeah.
Yes, they are not these pretty showpieces.
They're banged up.
So, for anywhere, depending on the model, $1,200 really at the low end and sky's the limit on the high end. But if someone gives me a budget and says, look, I'd like a real nice guitar, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be your cheapest model, but can I get something out of your shop for $1,500? Well, guess what? You can, and it can be highly custom, and you could choose a lot of the details about it.
See, but I think this is a pretty cool Christmas gift. What you were just talking about earlier, where you can buy, maybe your spouse, your son, your daughter, whatever the case may be.
Happens all the time.
Hey, mom, dad, I want a guitar. Okay,
Yeah.
we're going to teach you how to make your own guitar.
Yes.
I would think a lot of people
Yeah.
would be very interested in
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
You're learning something from it, and then there's a sense of pride in it, right? When you're playing a guitar and you say, "Hey, I made this thing."
We get calls on it every day, and I would say, what's the percentage of people that come back after they build a guitar, like to build another one?
Oh, 90, I would say.
Yeah, I mean,
So you can can you make a bass guitar
yes.
too?
Yes.
It's
Anything
kind of,
you
it's
want.
kind of like a tattoo. It's very addicting.
Yes.
Is what you're saying.
very addicting, and
Absolutely.
This is an addictive town, so that's
Yes.
good.
yeah, you're gonna
There's a
take,
lot of
what a
addicts
better town
in
to
Las
be in.
Vegas.
But you take your instrument home and you now play it, but you're gonna be like telling everyone like, I built this.
Right.
So we did a bass yesterday. One of the gentlemen wanted a custom bass.
That's
and
very
he
cool.
built his bass. So we had everybody built different guitars yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
That
the
is
first
so
class
cool.
that we did that, but it was a lot of fun and the food was good.
That's awesome. That's important. The food was good the opening night when
Yes.
you invited us. So
Yeah.
if you're just joining us, we're speaking with Daniel and Alicia from Sixx Gun Music. By the way, the shop is literally right across the street from the airport off of Sunset. So check it out. I was there a few weeks ago, and it is absolutely awesome. Okay, since we are speaking about guitars, it is my understanding that you guys are going to be giving away a guitar. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Holy moly. All right. Who wants a free Gibson Les Paul guitar?
Yes, seriously.
Right. Everybody in this
Yeah,
room. Right?
yeah.
So we are giving away it's a vintage guitar.
It's a
88.
vintage. It's an 88,
a
yes.
1988
Wow.
Gibson Les Paul Pro.
Yep.
And a very rare guitar. They didn't make a lot of these, and I believe, only produced them for a year or two. And it's an interesting guitar because it's a Gibson Les Paul. It has the vintage P90 pickups in it. It's a bright yellow guitar, very rare color. They called it nuclear
This isn't
yellow.
something you could just walk into a guitar center and buy.
No.
No.
I mean, you might find 3 for sale in the whole country right now.
Really?
Yeah.
So this is like a priceless item.
It's not priceless, but it's got a value. But it is a very cool guitar, very similar to a Junior. And we love the guitar. It's literally one of the best playing guitars in the shop.
Is it worth 5 figures?
No, it's not a 5-figure. You could keep your car.
Yeah.
That's okay. So how do people
and
enter
we're
to
giving
win
it
this?
away absolutely free. So all right, let me tell you. So how do they win the guitar?
So we're just asking you to either write us in a letter or an email and give us your story. Why do you need that? Why do you want that guitar?
So I also want to add that we've put a picture of this guitar on our Twitter page, which is @TheVegasTake, along with details about how to win. And I think this would be a good time to maybe take a couple phone calls. If you have a question or comment for Alicia or Daniel about their shop or anything in regards to guitars or what they're doing, give us a call now. The number to call, 257-5396. Again, that number, question or comment, 702-257-5396 is the number to call. Why don't we go to Cosmo? Cosmo is calling in. Thanks for calling into the Vegas Take. You're on with the people from Sixx Gun Music.
What's up, Kramer?
Hello, Sixx Gun. What's up? Hey.
Hey,
Hi.
Cosmo. What's happening?
I'm really interested. I've got a free guitar, 63 years old, been playing since I was 10 years old, and just going back to the blues now, to Mississippi Queen and whatnot.
Nice.
I need a Telecaster. Looked at that moderate one from Fender. I think I'd have a check with your price that you quoted in that class. It's
Absolutely.
a win-win. I'd love to come down and get signed up for a class. How awesome is that?
Anytime. It is, you know what, that's one of our most popular models, and we've just built a ton of them. And we actually did a custom one yesterday. The guy kind of wanted to modify it, heavily, and he even went for the custom pickups, which was nice. But there'll actually be a video coming out of me playing that guitar because DeArmond wanted me to shoot some video yesterday, so I was just forced to rock out on it.
Well, there you go, Cosmo.
I'd like to go as Waylon Jennings as possible.
Perfect. We'll sign you up as Waylon
Our
Jennings.
next class is actually going to be January 5th. So
There you go, Cosmo.
Yep,
January 5th.
After my birthday. Awesome.
Just don't party.
Yeah,
Don't
be a
party.
late birthday gift for yourself.
Don't party too hard on New Year's Eve. We don't want you to get
Hey,
sick,
I
Cosmo.
just want to drop a line to both of the broadcasters there. I've been in it for about 38 years, guys. Interesting to watch you rise up the ladder. I know you got a backstory. Everybody does. But on this project you're working on, guys, kudos. I don't agree with everything you say, but JD, my God, every call You guys take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Cosmo.
Thanks a lot,
We
Cosmo.
appreciate those kind words. It would be a boring world that we live in if everybody called into the show and agreed with everything me or JD said. So we certainly don't want that to happen.
I would simply not stand for it.
Well, there you go. You got a new customer.
Just got to stand for Brian's hat.
Outstanding.
Yeah, that sounds like that.
Yep.
Okay, so obviously you have a huge music background, and we've talked a little bit about this before.
Yeah.
But some of the more famous musicians that you've met because of what you do for work, I would imagine you have some pretty amazing stories.
Holy moly! I mean, it's I was food shopping in Ralph, and just my cart bumped into Eddie Van Halen.
No way.
So I mean,
where was this?
This was at a Ralph's in Burbank. Well, really,
We don't
Studio
have
City.
Do we have Ralph's here? I don't think we do.
Studio City.
So how many years ago was this?
This is quite a few years ago. I mean, this is probably in the early 2000s.
Now, he's like, Eddie Van Halen, you catch him on the wrong day. He might not be nice,
This is
so
true.
how did this
And
go?
I bumped into him twice, and the first time was, literally I bumped into him, and I'm sitting there in the Campbell soup aisle,
And you see Eddie Van Halen.
and I see Eddie Van Halen, and so we get to chatting, and it was, obviously just going back a ways, and I actually suggested that we should jam. I said, I play drums. Of course he doesn't know I play drums, but
right.
So we get chatting, but. Then it was probably a year later, I ran into him coming out of a little jazz club called La Valie, and he was walking out and I was walking in. And yeah, I mean, he was more in a hurry, and he was, more the Eddie, like, I'm going to get going on my way, But he's a nice guy. He's obviously a huge inspiration, even for guys like myself, even though my background is as a drummer, we build guitars. Everybody who knows guitars knows Eddie Van Halen. And
Of course.
he is just, for the kid who wants to come in and spray paint his own guitar and really do the Eddie thing. I mean, we're happy to help out because he's a huge inspiration and obviously a monster player.
Of course. Most famous person that you ever made an instrument for?
Holy moly. Most famous. We're doing it right now. We're doing one for, we've done quite a few, but we made one for Doug Aldrich from Whitesnake.
Oh, of course.
We are doing one that will be delivered. It's
Whitesnake,
literally.
do they still tour anymore?
They do, yeah. They're
Yeah?
still, David Coverdale's still doing some stuff, but we're doing Billy Gibbons' guitar
Oh,
right
nice.
now. So you'll be happy to know that it's sitting in the paint booth next to your guitar, awaiting paint. So
you know what
these
I
two
feel like?
guitars are both awaiting
I feel
paint.
like Wayne's World, where I go, I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. You have these famous musicians that you're making, and then some idiot on the radio that's a teenage fan of the band Live.
A giant Live fan.
Yeah, I mean, one of the most interesting people and guitars we're doing, we're also finishing up right now. Did you see the Bart guitar?
I did not. No,
Okay,
I
so we
don't
have
think
this,
I did.
this guitar, I call it Screaming Bart. It's like Bart Simpson and his mouth's wide open and a guitar neck coming out of his mouth. And that guitar we are doing, you know what, I can't even say who we're doing it for. I'll tell you after we give it to him because it's
Donald Trump?
Sort of a
No.
surprise. But on the next show, I'm going to tell you,
okay.
we'll have pictures of that guitar.
Anthony Weiner? No, okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No. Yeah, none of the presidential candidates. And
Okay.
there's probably some I don't want to make guitars for, but
Right. Fair enough.
pretty soon we'll be talking about the Clintons. So
No, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
We're not going to do that. But
I would do that.
yeah.
No, we don't need to talk
would.
about the Clintons. I'm not really interested in talking about Bill and Hillary.
I got a question for you.
Yes.
In your opinion, is Prince a top 5 guitar player of all time?
Oh my God! So I got a good Prince tie-in coming in. Absolutely. There's guys that maybe technically could outplay Prince, right? But as far as a creative element in the music world, I mean, this guy covered it all,
He
right?
was so well rounded.
He covered it all. So in 2017, I was inducted into the Rock Gods Hall of Fame, for my work with Meatloaf and Jay Giles and Five Star Loser, my punk band. And so now I do a lot of those events. As alumni, they call you out. And, most of the time I'm playing drums. So they have called me out to play with all of the former members of Prince who are now being inducted into the Rock Gods Hall of Fame April 10th.
Wow.
Next year. So
that is so cool.
Yeah, so I think Sheila E. I mean, it's just everybody who's played with Prince.
For the
who's-
record, first album I ever bought was Prince. I didn't buy an album until I was like 11 years old or 10 years old. But the first album I ever bought
But you
was...
stole one before that.
No, I should have. I should have, but I didn't. I should have.
First one he paid for was the Prince album.
Correct. The first one I paid for, kind of like the first woman I paid for. No, that's a horrible
right.
joke. I won't go there. No, but Prince,
similar.
Prince,
Very similar.
Prince and the New Power Generation.
Right, yeah.
I used to like the song Diamonds and Pearls. This
Yeah.
was after Little Red Corvette and all that
Yeah,
other stuff.
yeah.
But that was the first album I ever bought. And then I had the opportunity to see Prince, and I will never forget this show. I saw him at the Rio when he, I think it's Crown Nightclub, but he bought it out. And he and I went there on media night, and there were maybe several hundred people there, and I'm seeing this guy perform. And I'm just thinking to myself, I just had this feeling like this is a once in a lifetime opportunity, you know, and it was. And sadly, he passed away several years later. But certainly one of the most influential. Can anyone here sing Purple Rain right now? Can I put anybody on the spot? Can they sing?
Campaign probably can.
No? Can anybody bust out a Prince song now, a cappella? No? JD, you've been known to do this from time to time.
I do sometimes, but I don't really have this one down. I'm not overly comfortable right now. And my younger brother's actually on his way to visit me for Christmas, and I don't want to embarrass him.
You don't want to ruin that.
I don't want to ruin that.
Oh,
no.
come on, man.
Rain.
There we go.
Purple rain.
Oh, 7, never watch them fall. Okay, fair enough. Okay, number to call 25. We'll end that one pretty quickly. 25. Actually, you did it. That was actually pretty good.
That's all right.
That was on the spot. 257-5396 is the number to call. We have Alicia and Daniel from Sixx Gun Music. It is such an awesome guitar shop because I walked in there the grand opening of it. It was like the media day, and there was somebody performing. There were some people performing there. Some local celebrities were there. And it's just, you know, even if you're not planning on buying a guitar, even though walking into your store will make you want to buy a guitar, just to walk around and just see all the cool stuff they have in there. Like I said, it's like a guitar museum. You know, it's really cool. It's like no other store in Vegas.
People
it's very
do come
unique.
in and they bring their dogs. They're running around. They're having coffee. They're just literally. I mean, someone commented on the couch the other day. Like, "Where'd you get this couch?" And I said, "Oh, we made it." You know, so yes, we made some of the furniture in the shop.
That's cool. And if you're wondering, by the way, where it is, it's on Sunset. It's right in the PT's lot there.
1631 East Sunset, right in the plaza with PT's. We're watching the planes land all day. We couldn't get any closer to the airport unless we were on the other side of the fence. It's
You are
right there.
you are literally right there. So
Right.
I cannot wait to see what my guitar looks like. That I'm extremely
neither.
excited.
I can't wait to see what it looks like.
I cannot wait. And
I'm very serious about that Trump Biden guitar. That's going to take place.
That's it. Bust out
we need to
some.
work that
We're
out.
drawing that out.
That'll be perfect.
Yes.
We're going to make that happen. By the way, they are giving away a Gibson guitar. In order to be eligible, you need to check them out, write them a letter, or email explaining to them. And that email is Daniel, Daniel, at sixgunmusic.com. Tell them why you deserve this guitar, and they're going to be giving one away. So that's a really cool prize.
Really
to give away.
looking to give it to someone who, you know, both needs and deserves. I mean, tell me what your situation is.
So tell me when I can pick it up.
Yeah. You know, I mean, you know, maybe you used to play or you have a relative who used to play and they just, you know, they sold their favorite guitar to pay the rent or whatever and they need a guitar, or a child who was starting out, or someone who maybe was injured for years. And a lot of people are getting back into playing.
Sure.
You know, like, you know, I really wanted to go to someone who really needs the guitar. We're happy to do this. We've done it before. We're giving away an outstanding, you know, guitar.
That's nice of you to do that.
Don't take it right to Pawn Stars or nothing.
No,
you know?
Exactly.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
That's something JD would do.
Yeah.
I would never do something
it
like
definitely crossed my mind that I could see something like that happening.
Yes.
We don't want that to happen. You have to choose wisely. Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm sure you will. Well, listen, Alicia, Daniel, thank you so much for coming in and being here.
Anytime.
We really do appreciate it. Congratulations on all your success with this new store. We
Thank
love
you.
it when these new businesses open up in Las Vegas and they're successful like yours are, and it's different. That's what we like about it, and it's unique. Thank you so much for being here.
Hey, thanks a lot, guys. Great to be here.
Come on again soon. Can't wait to have you guys
All
back
right.
on. Have a great holiday.
Very
by the way.
soon. We're going to be giving you that guitar soon, so you better.
You're going to come in
you know,
studio. You're going to come in studio.
Get it ready.
Yes.
Get it ready.
Thank you for doing that. You guys are the best. All right, the people from Sixx Gun Music, check them out. We'll take a quick break and wrap things up when we come back. The Vegas Take, 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON.
Here is some great news. If you missed the deadline to sign up for health insurance, or if you sign up for a plan that you're just not happy with, you still have a choice. It's called MediShare. It's the affordable alternative to health insurance, and it's worked beautifully for 25 years. They have more than 400,000 members now around the country. MediShare is a Christian healthcare sharing ministry, and over the years, members have shared over $3 billion of each other's medical bills, so they could help share your needs too. And best of all, you could save a lot of money with MediShare. The typical savings for a family is about $500 a month. Your savings could be more or less, but think about what you could do with that extra money every month. You're not stuck with a high-cost health plan. You can join MediShare anytime, so call them today and check it out. Here's the number to find out more, and there's no pressure. They are super easy to talk to. Call 844-91-BIBLE. That's 844-91-BIBLE. 844-91-BIBLE.
Parents, you always say you want what's best for your children. If that's the case, then you should be bringing your kid to Infinity, the Math Institute, where every student earns an A or B in math. Our results are proven and they are amazing. The best tutoring service for the best price, whether online or in person, small group or one-on-one. You cannot get better results. Great grades will come when your child truly understands the math. From elementary math to calculus, we have the best tutors, the best materials, and the best results. Now offering free parent seminars on how to better help your child, what is Common Core, and more. Find out why parents are bragging and students are enjoying school again by calling 702-768-1777. That's 702-768-1777, or visit themathinstitute.com today. Tell them the Vegas Take sent you, because at Infinity, you don't get more math problems, you get solutions.
The great one, Mark Levin.
Why are all these people running on the Democrat side for the nomination when there's really not much difference between any of them and as a group among any of them? Am I wrong? They all represent the same hardcore part of the Democrat Party. They're hoping they can break loose through identity. They're hoping they can break loose with one idea or another idea. But all in all, aren't they the same, at least from a policy perspective?
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Only on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. Sean Hannity, weekdays noon to 3 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON.
He lashes out sometimes, and I think a lot of the American people understand that.
Wait, was that guy talking about me or was he talking about Donald Trump? It could be either or. That's a toss-up. That's a coin flip there. Anyway, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us. That was a lot of fun. First of all, I want to thank my guest for coming on, Michael Avenatti. That was a fun hour. Also, the legend himself, former NFL quarterback, and of course, UNLV legend, Pastor Randall Cunningham. If you missed that interview, boy, did we learn a lot in that one. We learned that he was once offered the UNLV head coaching job for $1. We also learned that if the new UNLV football coach reaches out to him, he would be possibly interested in the quarterback head coach. We're going to post that on social media later today, so check that out at the Vegas Take on Twitter, also our Vegas Take SoundCloud page, our Vegas Take Facebook page, and of course our website, thevegastake.com. We are all over the place, so if you miss anything, we podcast all of our shows live. Tomorrow's going to be interesting because I have wanted to talk to this guy for a long time. Of course, he is the former governor of Massachusetts. And recently, not that long ago, within the last month or so, he decided that he was putting his name in the hat as presidential candidates on the Democratic side. So Deval Patrick will be joining us on the show tomorrow. That's going to be very, very interesting. I've always wanted to talk to him. But my question is, why? Why are you putting your name in the hat when there's so many other candidates out there? But he's a smart guy. I respect him a great deal, so it'll be fun to be able to talk to him tomorrow as well. Obviously, we were going to be covering all the breaking news. What is the latest on this impeachment inquiry? Obviously, the articles of impeachment are out there. I'm sure there'll be plenty more to get to. What will Donald Trump tweet next? Check us out. We are going to take a 21-hour break. We'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Sean Hannity coming up next, folks. Have a great day.
The only FM news talk station in the Valley. 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
Emergency. Senate bickering. I'm Christopher Cruz. The National Weather Service has declared